Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well tonight, this evening, or morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is. Whenever you're watching this in your neck of the woods, or if you're watching replay, which I'm sure a lot of people will be watching replay because this is a late night live stream that we do every once in a while. But it's good to see everybody here that's checked in the chat. Arctic checked in earlier. He said, I'll try to be here. 11 is a little late for us old folks. Yeah, I know. It is late for me too, but I've been had some stuff going on tonight. So plus I like to do a late night live every once in a while for some night owls out there that like to stay up late. And of course, it is way past Junior Johnson's bedtime. But hopefully he'll be on replay crew. We love our replay crew. Absolutely. Miranda checked in earlier. She said she would try to stay awake, but she tended to doze off at around midnight. I understand that. I will try not to doze off too much at all during the live stream. It's been a long week of work with the holidays, or the New Year's, and getting up for the holidays and working and trying to spend as much time with family as I can. And it's just, and I'm going to work tomorrow actually, so hopefully I won't be on here, we won't be on here all night long tonight, but because I'm going to work tomorrow, Saturday, because I took New Year's Day off, because we did some things with the family on New Year's Day and watched some football and did some more eating and played some games. So I took New Year's Day off. So I'm going to work tomorrow while the weather is still good, because I think Saturday or Sunday here in Arkansas it's supposed to start in with the rain and maybe some storms just here in Arkansas. But now up north, you guys are going to get the ugly stuff, the snow and the ice and the sleet. So everyone up there up north who's going to get the bad stuff, what I call the bad stuff, the 4-letter word we call it here in Arkansas. Just be careful if you have to be out in it, especially if it's ice. Miss Dandy is here. Hello, Dandy. Always good to see the lovely Dandy Linus. Thank you for everything that you do for me, my dear. Miss Paula checked in. She said she will be over here soon. She's probably on a. Oh, I got to get over there and check out those channels that she tells me about, the movie channels, the horror genre channels that she's telling me about, to get over there and check those out. Sunday Doodles is here. Evening Guts. Yeah, we may have some guts. You never know. Oh, that reminds me. I always forget to put up my crawler, just in case. Nope. We gotta go to the right place to find it. There it is. Okay. Just in case. I think maybe Sunday meant evening, guys. Yeah, the dang autocorrect. Yeah, Dandy's always talking about the autocorrect. It gets me too. It gets me too. I think it gets a lot of us. Oh, Miss Paula did make it back. Hello, Miss Paula. Good to see you. Yep, Dandy's talking about the autocorrect. Absolutely. Yep. You know, like I said, you never know what is going to happen around here. Miss Farq checked in. She says, "Hey, all listening. I'm not well. Oh no." She says, "Stay safe, love and light." I hope. I don't know if you're sick or what's going on, but thoughts, prayers, and good vibes to you, Miss Far. I hope you get to feeling better. Absolutely. She is all the way over in Australia. Yes, we always like a good chuckle around here, especially late at night. Especially late at night. Yeah, Dandy said at least it's not her this time. Yep. So they say it keeps me humble. Yeah. It's kind of like those. I don't know if any of you guys are watching now or watching replay. If you're watching replay, please leave a comment. And I don't even know if they're still around. They're called Mad Libs. There's like this book you got, and each page had kind of like a little story or a scenario on it, and every few words you would play it with people. One person would be the person that was you had to give like a noun or a verb or a thing or a food or something of that nature, and just random, and you just filled it in, and then you read whoever was and we would take turns doing it, passing the book around, and read the scenario with just the random words that were put in. It was freaking hilarious. Like I said, I don't even know if anybody out there knows if they even still do that. Just let me know, because I would love to play it even now. It was out when I was probably a preteen, a teenager. Those are out. Okay, Dandy has got Emma Baum, a 20-year-old, oh goodness, pregnant woman went missing in Gary, Indiana on October 10th. Was it this year? Still missing. Okay, 2024. All right, let me look that up right quick. Emma, okay, so Emma Baum. Thank you, Dandy. Let's say we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about tonight. I do have a with a thumbnail. We can take a look at 10 of the most infamous true crime cases. It starts with the 1920s to the 2010s. It gives just like one case per decade, and I got it from a website called Rebel Circus. And I put a link to it in the description box if anybody wants to check it out. It's a pretty cool site. It has all kinds of lists and different stories and top 10s and things of that nature. It has a lot of true crime stuff on it, and horror stuff. It has everything basically. But that is where I got the list from the cases that we're going to take a look at tonight. But let me look up Emma Baum. Right, here's an article from CBS News. That was from 3 days ago. Let me see if it will let me screen share. So far, I probably shouldn't say anything, but oh, Dandy says she was last seen by the baby daddy. Uh-oh. Welcome, Patriotism. Good to have you here, as always. Welcome. We do have some night owls in here tonight. All right, let me do a screen share. Hold on. If I can manage to push the right buttons. Let's see if it'll work. It may take a second for it to pop up. There it is. All right, let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can read it. All right, so it says 2 months later, missing Gary woman's family holding out hope as New Year approaches. Oh, well, there it is. Okay, so like, where is the story at? The new year brings renewed hope for the family of a missing woman from Gary, Indiana, as her family continues to search for clues into her disappearance more than 2 months ago. As the new year arrives, a sense of not knowing remains for the family of Emma Baum, who has been missing since October 10th, but they say they won't give up their search. Her sister Abby Smith says it's hard and to know that this is the beginning of a new year and we might do this all year round really is a feeling that you can't really explain. Smith and her family members haven't seen Baum since mid-October. At the time, she was days away from delivering her 4th child. She vanished in Gary days before her due date. Her sister says, we can't function. We can't go one day without wondering. Oh, can't even imagine. They've been inside abandoned homes with canine teams, and the family has spent countless hours searching the neighborhood in Gary where Baum was last seen. Her mother, Jamie, said in November, we're always going to look. I'm never going to stop looking for her. My whole family will never stop looking for you, Emma. Smith said those search efforts will continue until they find Emma. Like we said, it's not going to stop. She has 3 kids, and regardless of anything from point A to point B, they deserve to know where their mom is or what has happened. Absolutely. Oh, let me get rid of the ads popping up. If they will go away. Not knowing has placed an unimaginable toll on the entire family, especially during the holidays. And Smith said she is holding out hope that her sister is alive. Her sister says she missed her son's birthday, she missed Thanksgiving, she missed Christmas. Now she's going to miss the new year. There has to be that hope. Absolutely. You never give up hope. Well, apparently that ad's not going to go away. Because hope is the only thing keeping them going, Baum's family said after searching and talking to people, they have reason to believe her disappearance is due to foul play. Gary police have only classified Emma's case as a missing person investigation. Until the family hears otherwise, they're asking anyone to call with any information. Her sister said at this point it would provide comfort. Absolutely. But she knows that her family isn't the only one searching for answers. Her sister goes on to say there is a very large amount of missing women and children in Gary, Indiana, really, to the point where their numbers are really concerning. So I guess that was all the article. I hate to hear that. Thank you, Dandy, for that. So please do. Let me see if I can copy that link and I will put it in the chat. Oh, my StreamYard disappeared. There it is. It'll let me put it in the chat. That way you guys can copy it and save it in your browser and well, you're gonna, if it might take its time posting. So you guys can share it out. Absolutely. Oh, all my comments just jumped. Okay. Once again, thank you, Dandy, for that. That was concerning. Once again, Emma Baum, a 25-year-old pregnant woman, went missing in Gary, Indiana on October 10th of this year, 2024, and she is still missing. Hey, Miss Christy, how are you doing? Good to see you here, my dear. I'm going to get with you hopefully sometime in the next week or so, we can get that live stream about Brent's case. I'll get with you and Miss Jamie and get it planned out for whatever time will be good for you guys to come on and do that live stream. Absolutely. But it's good to see you here, ma'am. Thank you so much. Patriotism said, Dandy, who is Smith in the case? Oh, I guess I answered. Oh, the article answered it. Yes, absolutely. Do not forget to hit that. Sorry, it's been slow. Hit the like button. Absolutely. And if you're new here, live tonight or watching replay, if you haven't subscribed already, if you'll be interested in learning more about what we usually share here, missing persons, cold cases, please do consider subscribing. Set the notification bell to all so you won't miss any video uploads that I upload during the week or when I go live. Also check my playlist for all the missing persons and cold cases that I have shared thus far. Please leave comments below. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Also in the description box, Miss Christie was mentioning the petition in Brent's case. It is in the description box, and let me see. Let me go grab it, and I'll also put it in chat. Please sign it if you've already signed it. Please share the link. Let me get the right one. There it is. Please share it anywhere and everywhere you can, because I'm telling you, when I get Miss Christie, Miss Jamie on here, and they can tell you, because family members and advocates can relay the information so much better than I could. You will just be so pissed off, just to put it bluntly, about what's gone on or not gone on in Britt's case. So I'm looking forward to getting with Miss Christie and Miss Jamie and getting them on here so they can tell his story. So there is the link to the petition. And once again, it is also in the description box, because most of the time, I don't know how to go in and when I schedule the live stream to if whoever's watching replay, it'll do the chat replay, because I know a lot of times if I go in and I'm replay crew on my own live stream, just to make sure there weren't any glitches or anything that I needed to correct that was said during the live stream, the chat won't come up. So that's why I try to always put all the links and stuff that I use in the description box. But there is the link to the chat. So yep, there it goes. It's right above you, patriotism. Oh, yep. And like I said, it is also in my links, along with the Arctic's petition to standardize the Amber Alert system. And from posts that he's made on Facebook, apparently there is something in the works for either assume that it's a different kind of alert, maybe, that they're trying to get going in lieu of an Amber Alert, because there's just so much criteria that has to be met for an Amber Alert, and it's different from state to state, and it's just broken. It's just broken. There's the link for the, and Dandy also got it in. Thank you. But yeah, the Amber Alert is just so, it needs to be uniform across the board, and in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, not have such strict criteria that has to be met. But if you're on Facebook, do check out Arctic Fox True Crime. He posts a lot on there about whatever's going on behind the scenes with either a new system or reforms to the Amber Alert system. Yes, you can also let Let me see if I can grab the link to the page. Let me see where I'm going. I'm trying to multitask. Bear with me. Bear with me. Yes. For anybody who has not watched, Miss Christy and Miss Jamie were on the Locating the Lost podcast the other night. If you've not checked out Locating the Lost channel, Daddy or somebody, if you can grab that link, please do. I watch them a lot. Whenever I get a chance, they do great work, and they did an episode with talking about Brent's case, and I did after it was over. I did share it on my community wall on YouTube. But let me see. Oh, I might just have to do it as hold on. Once again, multitasking. Probably hear me typing away on my keyboard. I'm trying to find the link to the there it is. Is it Justice for Brent McGhee, or is it Finding Brent McGhee? Let's see what pops up here. Thank you guys for bearing with me, but this is very important links that I want to get out here. Thank you, Miss Christy. No, you guys, you and Miss Jamie and everybody that's advocating for Brent, his whole family, and whoever else is, y'all are doing amazing work. Okay, Justice for Brent McGhee. All right. I was still putting in Finding Brent McGhee. Okay, hold on. My fingers keep getting ahead of my mind here. Thank you, Miss Sandy. She got in the link for Locating the Lost YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, goodness. Everything keeps popping up. All right, there it is. Oh, maybe if I stop sharing for a minute, maybe it'll come up faster. Sometimes when I try to bring up, or most of the time when I try to bring up Facebook on my computer, it takes it forever to load. Yes, Dandy is fantastic at getting those links in. She is very fast. All right, there is the link. Finally, the link finally came up. There we go. There is a link to the page. Please do check it out. Please, please, please. Like I said, Miss Christy, I will get with you as soon as possible. Hopefully sometime this coming week. You can just get with Miss Jamie and see what times work best for you guys. What day, what night, whatever it is, whatever the case may be, and we will get it done. Absolutely. All right, let me take that down. And there is the link, Justice for Brent McGhee, and this is an Arkansas case. Absolutely. So it is very, very close to my heart and Arctic's heart. Absolutely. So we tried to do our best to do everything we can to help share, make awareness, not just for, not just Arkansas cases, but obviously as we're both from Arkansas, but we do like to put a little emphasis on Arkansas cases, but we share from anywhere and everywhere. We'll share cases anywhere, from anywhere and everywhere. Absolutely. Miss Christy said, perfect. We're ready to scream his name. Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. All right. Let's see what we got going. Thank you, Patriotism. Yep. Share all those links that are in there. If you can, the petition, the Facebook page, Please copy them, save them in your browser, however you want to do them, share them anywhere and everywhere you can. On Facebook, whatever social media platform. It doesn't matter. The more sharing, the better. Share, share, share. Oh, Miss Miranda did wake up. Hello, Miranda. How are you doing, my dear? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Are you cold up there in your neck of the woods? Are you ready for the snow and the ice and the whatever else is coming? So I think it's going to get pretty icy and or snowy up that way. I think Saturday night, Sunday, we're just going to get rain and storms here. Miranda said it is cold here, but I love it. I love you, Miranda, but you can keep your cold. I don't love your cold. I don't love the cold. I'm spoiled. I've lived down here in the South all my life. I like the warm weather. Like me some warm weather. And the older I get, my bones and joints don't like the cold weather either. Because they hurt. They hurt when it gets cold. All right. Patriotism says Sunday night storms here. And I cannot remember exactly where you are at, Patriotism, so you'll have to remind me. But you must be somewhere more southern than Miranda is, because I know they're going to get ice or supposed to get ice and snow up there. Like I said, yes, I agree. Patriotism agrees. Y'all can keep the cold. Dandy said, everything keeps jumping. Why is it not? There we go. Says we've only got 2 short-lived dusting since winter started. Mostly rain this winter in western Colorado. Ugh. Is that cold rain? Ugh. Nothing worse than a cold rain. If it's gonna, I would rather have snow than a cold rain. At least snow is pretty. And Sunday says they're supposed to get snow and ice. Ugh. Oh, that's right. That's right. Patriotism is in Alabama. Yep. So yeah, you're gonna, like us, like Arkansas, just gonna get the rain and the storms. Yep. That autocorrect. Why is my stuff not working? Anyway. Yep. Autocorrect again. Oh, see, I want this weather. Miss Christie said it was 80 degrees in California today. And probably low humidity. I don't know what the humidity is like in California. But 80 sounds just about perfect to me. Anywhere between 70 and 80 degrees and low or no humidity is perfect for me. And there's Miss PJ, if she'll come up. There she is. Hello, Miss PJ. Good to have you here. Always good to have Miss PJ here. Please do check out Miss PJ's channel. She does a wonderful job. Our friend JP is here, John Paul Hanson. Good to see you, sir. Haven't seen you in a while. Always good to have JP here. Do please check out JP's. He has a music channel, and he has a second channel where he shares some true crime every once in a while. So please do check out both of those. Miss JC has come in. Hello, JC. Excuse me. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Welcome. Miss JC also has a very good channel. She does excellent work. Good to have you here, Miss JC. Oh, Miss PJ says, I'm supposed to be sleeping. I have to set up my new classroom tomorrow for Monday. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I should be sleeping technically right now because I am, like I said earlier, I am going to get out and do some work, schlep some groceries tomorrow. Since I took a New Year's Day off, Wednesday off, so I have to make up for that. Dandy says, I'm in a great spot. I don't get snow, but I can see it in the higher elevations. Oh, see, that would be beautiful to me. Beautiful. Christy says there is no humidity. Oh, that would be heaven for me. That would be heaven. Heaven, heaven. You know, down here in Arkansas, because I think Miss Christie, I think you did used to live in Arkansas. You know how the humidity, I can't talk as usual. Humidity can get down here, but 80 with no humidity sounds heavenly. Oh, yep. JP gets a tardy cookie. Thank you, Miss Sandy. Got in Miss PJ's channel. Patriotism says he loves JP's music. Absolutely. JP puts out some excellent stuff. I know he said he had JP, didn't you say you had some new releases or something that were coming out? Or should be out since it's now 2025 on like Spotify and where I know you're on Spotify. I don't know where else you are. So please do check out JP on Spotify. Miranda says, hello to all. I'm too lazy to tag everyone tonight. I feel you. Sometimes if I'm watching on my phone, I can't. It's so hard to. Takes me forever to tag on the phone because if you're doing it from a phone, if you're doing it on like a laptop, if you put in at and then the first like two letters of whoever you wanted to highlight to talk to in chat, it automatically bring up their name so you don't have to type in the whole thing. So if I'm on my phone, I just, I may tag one or two people, but it's just too hard for me. It takes too long for me to type in the whole name. Yes, from the Pocahontas area, Southeast Missouri. Absolutely. JP says he's got singles out and he is on all streaming platforms. I know I listen to him on YouTube and also Spotify because that's what I use mostly for my listening to my music and podcast. Yes, absolutely. Check out Dave. He should be on tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, however you want to look at it. We always join, us night owls always join Dave on Saturdays. Absolutely. Dave does an excellent work. I don't know if he's working tonight. He's probably out driving around checking on the owls. Yeah, Miranda says she's on her phone. Yeah, that's when if I'm watching a live on my phone, it just I just can't. I just don't tag people. Like I said, it takes me too long to type in the whole name. JP says I just replaced a bunch with new remix and remasters. Ooh, I'll have to go check them out. I will have to check them out. Miranda says my daughter is heading back to college tomorrow, back to empty nest. Oh, I'm so sorry, Miranda. I'm so sorry. Yes, Miss Paula is a mod on Dave's channel. Miss Paula, yeah, also please check out Miss Paula. She does some great shorts. She has her morning shorts every morning. And every once in a while she'll go live and she's just always so positive. And it's like I've said this all the time. She's probably the first thing that I watch when I get up in the mornings and before I start getting ready to go to work. I'll check my YouTube notifications and I'll head over and see what Miss Paula is up to. So please do check out Miss Paula. Welcome, Aquarian One. Good to have you here. Always good to have Aquarian here. Welcome, welcome. Says Happy New Year, Southern Gal and friends. Absolutely. I hope I hope everybody's New Year was good. We didn't do any. I didn't do anything for New Year's Eve. I can't remember if I did a live stream that night. I think I thought about doing a live stream, but there were so many creators doing live streams on New Year's Eve. I was just like, forget it. I think I snuck in and watched, lurked in a couple of live streams, and while I was watching some football on New Year's night, but I barely made it till midnight. I was probably laying down in the bed by like midnight 05 or midnight 30. I was sleeping. Thank you, Miss Sandy's getting all the links in. There's a link to Arctic Fox True Crime. He is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. He's a wonderful human being, wonderful advocate. He has a wonderful channel. He cranks out those videos. He is a machine cranking out those missing person videos. Miranda says, it's been so nice having my kid and her cat home. Our cat's name is Luca. Oh, I love that name. And he is so precious. I'm going to miss Luca as well. Absolutely. I don't know where my two little fur monsters are right now because I didn't shut them out. Usually when I do a live stream, I have to shut them out, or especially little Biscuit, because he'll go into biscuit mode, as we call it, and get the zoomies and be wreaking havoc all over the place. But they disappeared. I don't have my door shut, or I don't have it latched. They can come in, so there's no telling where they're at right now. It's kind of like kids, when the cats get quiet, you better go check on them because you never know what they're doing. Yes, JP is on Spotify. Absolutely. Miss PETITION says, on New Year's Eve, I drank one sip of champagne, got the wrong kind. It was disappointing. I see. I've tried drinking champagne. I don't like the taste of it. I can't do it. Can't do it. Dandy said she was in bed by 9 on New Year's with a sinus headache. Oh, sinus headaches are the worst. They're the worst. Any kind of headache is the worst. I think having a headache of any kind and being sick to my stomach, I would rather, I don't know, have anything else wrong with me than those two things. Miss Michelle C made it in. Hello, Michelle. Good to have you here. Good to see all you lovely people here tonight. We've got lots tonight. We got 12 people here. That's good for a late night on my channel. Oh, welcome, everybody. Miss Paula says she was up for New Year's Eve. Yep. And I probably honestly would not have made it to midnight. But my brother called me at around 11:15 Central Time, where I'm at. Or, well, he texted me first. He said, "You up?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of." Why? I thought something was wrong, because he usually doesn't text me late at night. But he called and he was awake, and he had been sick, so we got to talking, and so that's how I actually made it to New Year's. JP says his newest is Fire in Your Eyes. That sounds excellent. I will definitely check that out. So now Miss PJ and Miss Miranda are discussing champagne. Yep. Oh, Dandy says she slept safely through it all. Absolutely. Aquarian says I fell asleep early and the fireworks woke me up at 12:10 a.m. I don't think I heard any, because I live out on the farm in the country. It's not out in the boonies. It's maybe 2 or 3 miles to town. And usually we can hear fireworks, and some of the kids, neighbors down the road, sometimes will shoot off fireworks, but I don't think I remember hearing any this year. All right, Miranda says if anyone is free, there's a live tomorrow about the Flora fire on Coach Kev's channel, and we are really trying to reach new people. Absolutely. I was just fixing to ask, and she put it right there. It is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might still be out working, but I will, if I'm sitting in the car waiting for an order to come in, I will definitely tune in. And whatever I miss, I will definitely be on a replay crew. So Dandy has probably already done it. Oh, or Miranda. I'm assuming that is the link to the live stream. Coach Kev, and if you've never checked out Coach Kev's channel, definitely check him out. Wonderful. Wonderful. So yes, thank you, Miranda, for letting us know about that. Absolutely. On Coach Kev's channel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, or Saturday, because for some people it is already Saturday, because it is 11:39 Central Time here. Let me see where I'm at. Dandy says she just turned over at the fireworks at midnight. JP says he'll be there if available. Thank you so much. Miss PJ said she subbed. I think I'm subbed. I'll have to check this and see if I'm subbed to Grammatically Clever. I think I am, but I have to go check to make sure. And Miss PJ said Grizz is an OG from when I first came here. He is amazing. Yes, Coach Kev is a firefighter in Pennsylvania. He has researched the Florida fire extensively. Yes, he has. 4 little girls were killed in the fire, and it was ruled an arson. Yep. Once again, there's the link to the live stream. JP says Grizz is a great songwriter too. All right, let's. We can go on. You guys can go on chatting about whatever we want to. Can't talk as usual. Chat about in chat. But I'll just start throwing in some of these. Miranda says Grizz is good people. We trust. I definitely trust your judgment, Miranda. So if you say so, that is good with me. JP said, "Oh, everything keeps jumping." Says my boy. Miss PJ said, "Shh, don't tell him that. Don't tell him I said that." All right, so I have 10, and once again, I got this from the Rebel Circus website. Once again, if you have not heard of the Rebel Circus website, it's a very cool website. It has lots of different lists and things of that nature, stories, articles, lists about different things. So that is where this list comes from. Famous cases throughout the decades. Is from and there's 10 cases, 1 case from each decade, starting with the 1920s to the 2010s. And so we're going to start with the 1920s. So if anybody has any idea of anything that happened back in the 1920s, what famous, and some of these are offenders that they're going to talk about, and some of them are famous victims, cases. So you can start putting in your guesses in chat if you want to about who you think it will be highlighted for whatever decade. Like I said, it's going to be 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and then 2010 is the last one. So the first one is 1920, which is, I'm going on the assumption, most likely none of us here were born in the 1920s. Miranda guessed the Lindbergh baby. That is a good one. That is a good one. That's a good guess. Get a drink real quick. Miss PJ said, "Oh snap, 1920." Yeah, 1920 is a long time ago. Long time. Oh yeah, right. Miss PJ says, "I may have been born then." Yeah, I don't think so. Paula says Bonnie and Clyde. That's another good guess or a good suggestion. Absolutely. I should have went and looked up some other JP says right now I'm trying to get into sync licensing. Let me put it up there. I can't read it. Sync licensing. That's music. That is music for TV, film, commercials, and promotions. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Dandy says she wasn't a shiny light until 78. Yeah, but I wasn't a shiny light until 71. Paul also said the Titanic sinking. Yeah. All right. So for 1920, they have Albert Fish. So who a show of hands in chat or in comments if you're watching a replay has heard of Albert Fish? I'd heard of him, but I didn't know exactly. Dandy is not Miss PJ, the teacher, Miss PJ is going to have to get on Dandy. She is not paying attention in class. She asked, "What was the question?" Any guesses? of what the case, either offender, because some of these are offenders, some of them are the victims, that is going to be featured on this list from 1920, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 2010. So this is 1920s, Albert Fish. Miranda's, I'm assuming you were born in 1977. Yes, we're going to whack your knuckles. Miss PJ, Teacher PJ is going to get you. Yes, Titanic. I love that movie. Miss PJ said, "Oh, Titanic. Leonardo was so cute then." I know. It's been, maybe less than a month since I watched the movie last, so I'm about due to watch it again. I usually watch it about once a month. I have to get my Titanic fix. Yes, see, Miss PJ is going to get the ruler. She's getting the ruler out. Everybody behave. Pay attention. Miss Paula agrees. I'm assuming you're talking about Titanic. JP said, reminds me of Agatha Christie. So Albert Fish. Yes, we love you too, Dandy. Oh, we love Dandy. And Patriotism said he was, you're about my baby brother's age. 1981. My baby brother was born in 1980. Some youngins in here. Some youngins. JP says 78. So you're around my age. All right. So Albert Fish. Let me do that so I won't forget where I was. I'm going to try to read this off my Miss PJ. Good. Miss PJ is a youngin too. 1982. So you're 2 years younger than my baby brother. Miss PJ says she's the oldest. Yeah, I'm the oldest too. I'm the oldest and the only girl, and I have 2 younger brothers. Uh-oh, now we know what's wrong with patriotism. Oh, I'm kidding. They're a Halloween baby. I love Halloween. Probably my favorite holiday, Christmas and Halloween. All right, so Albert Fish was one of the most notorious offenders of the early 20th century. So has anybody heard of Albert Fish? So he went by many nicknames, including the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria. That would be an excellent movie title. Talking about movies, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire. I think there was actually a movie. Is there a movie? Was it Vampire in Brooklyn or something of that nature? So he's known as the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac. That would make an excellent band name, and the Boogeyman. I think they call just about everybody the Boogeyman. Corian says they've never heard of Albert Fish. I understandable. I said I had heard the name, but I didn't know. I'm gonna have to read up on him some more. This is just and tonight we're just doing basic information, keeping it light. Although some of these cases are a little bit, obviously they involve true crime, so they're not going to be warm and fuzzy stories. But so between July of 1924 and June of 1928, he took the lives of at minimum 3 children. Trigger warning. Sorry, I forgot to say that before. However, it says he would go on to claim that he had victims in every state, and his number of offenses was over 100. So I don't know if they're just guessing, or I don't know if they actually confirmed that he had actually 100 victims. But he was apprehended. He was caught in December of 1934. He was put on trial for the kidnapping and homicide of Grace Budd. And in January of 1936, he was convicted, and he got the DP by Old Sparky at the age of 36. He looks older than 36. I mean, I don't know when that picture of him was taken, but even in that picture, he looks older than 36. So that is the basics on Albert Fish. So just give us some, for any of us out there who want to if there's some on the, which most of these on this list you guys are will have heard of. You know, anybody into true crime will have heard, especially when we get into the later decades, the more famous ones. Yeah, for anybody, this is just to give anybody, including myself, a jumping off point to research any of these that you may not have heard of or want to look further into. So I'm going to definitely look more into Albert here. But he is no longer on this earth for a while. Get caught up in comments. Yes, JP says that wisdom is rare these days. Absolutely. Just making sure I did not miss anything. Oh, a lot of us oldest ones here. Dandy says, I'm the oldest. It freaking sucks. Yeah. Did you have sisters, brothers? One of each? You know, like I said, I'm the oldest and the only girl. So got to, but because me and the middle brother, the next to the youngest or next to the oldest, there's only 3.5 years between us. But now there's about 9.5 years between me and my youngest brother. So I helped raise him. So he's more of a, you know, I was like a second mom to him. So there's a little bit of a difference. Miss Paula says, I can think of a couple of people who should have been arrested for the way they handled the Titanic sinking. I absolutely agree. I watched so many, of course, you know, aside from watching the movie Titanic, I watched so many documentaries about the Titanic. James Cameron, has done a lot of documentaries. He went down to the Titanic several times. Did a lot of documentaries about the Titanic, as have other people. Very interesting. Horrible incident, but very interesting. Miss PJ says, I'm an old 42. I have a lot of wisdom. I'm sure you do. Miss Paula says she is 46 years young. Miss PJ says, I'm the baby of the family. Can't you tell? Yeah, Miss Paula says, so am I. My brother can sometimes act like my father. Yep. Yeah, JP said, oh, Albert here looks like he's 40. Yeah, at least. Hello, Fritzl Garage. Watching from Poland. Good to have you here. Good to have you check in. Fritzl checks in every once in a while on our live streams and watches the video, or if they don't catch it live, they watch replay crew and leave a comment. Yep, from Poland. Fritzl is one that has been here from the very beginning, before I even started doing live streams, when I was just uploading my crappy videos that I did it, you know. Hopefully I've gotten a little bit better at my videos and my live streams, but yeah, Fritzl has been here from way back from the beginning, which I think this channel will turn 3 on February of this year, I believe. And Fritzl has been there always. When I would upload a video, you know, and they would watch it and like it and leave a comment and encouragement, and I appreciate everybody, absolutely. But yeah, Fritzl has been here from the beginning, just like a lot of you guys have. Oh, yep. Yeah, we've got people, like I said, Fritzl's from Poland. We got Miss Farr from, checks in from Australia. We got Lance that checks in from Canada, and then maybe some others that lurk. And, you know, I try to keep an eye on my demographics. Miss Charlotte from across the pond checks in every once in a while. She's a late nighter, or well, it's early morning for her. She usually pops in Dave's live streams on Saturday night, Sunday morning. So yeah, we get from all over the world. It is fantastic. Thank you. No, thank you for everything, all the support through all the years. Patriotism says, I have 2 brothers, one younger and one older. So you're the middle. Yeah, my what we call the middle brother, he says, I don't like being in the middle. In the middle. Yeah, Miss Miranda's in Michigan. Yes, Miss Charlotte is lovely. We love Miss Charlotte. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, patriotism from Alabama. I don't want no Roll Tide up in here. I'm kidding. Uh, so anybody who watches college football, what do you think of the playoffs? It's going to be what? Now I forgot. Texas is playing Ohio State and I forgot the other one. So I'm going to be forced to root for Texas, even though it goes against my soul, being from Arkansas, because I don't like really care for any of the other team. I don't, did Oregon make it or did they get beat? I know it was Oregon and in the quarterfinals. Anyway, I'll be rooting for almost said Tennessee. Good Lord, for Texas. Excellent. Miss Paula says one of my horror channels, Davy Death Ray, is from Canada. Excellent. Yeah, see, now I can get into some Sweet Home Alabama, most definitely. Uh, Sunday said they're not for any of them. Yeah, I've kind of been disappointed in what they was supposed to be in the big, the play, what they call the playoff games. Yes, thank you. Penn State and Notre Dame, and then it's going to be Texas and Ohio State. So, as Paula said, Craven is from Texas. Oh, yep. Dandy says she didn't watch football. Yep. I've watched football ever since I was old enough to watch football. Since I was old enough to, or before I was even old enough to know what it was, because my parents watched it, my grandparents, everybody. All right, so we had Albert Fish for Sunday says go Irish. There you go. Oh yeah. I would probably either root for I don't like Penn State really. Either Notre Dame or Texas out of the four that's left. And technically I should root for Texas because they are SEC. They're my conference, so you know. Absolutely. I know Miss Polly is a football fan. She loves her Patriots, absolutely. She says football is her favorite sport. And it says she used to watch football, but not now. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, now Miss PJ, are you singing Sweet Home Alabama now? Yeah, it's in my head now. It's stuck in my head now. All right, so 19, and I forgot what I made this slideshow yesterday. I already forgot. I don't remember what 1930s is. So anybody have any guesses? Let me see. Oh, I can look on my slideshow. I can cheat. Maybe where'd it go? There it is. You guys might have heard of this one. I've heard of this one. I haven't delved into, and it is an offender on this one, a serial offender from the 1930s, from Cleveland. That's the hint. If anybody has any guesses before we get into it, get back over here and. What are you whoopsing for, John Paul? Oh, about getting Sweet Home Alabama. Yes, I do not sing. I can sing, not well, not well. I sing in the car when I'm driving or sitting in the car waiting for orders to come in at work or in the shower or if I'm here alone in the house, with my hairbrush as my microphone, I'll sing. But yes, Miss PJ, it's Cleveland and is an offender, a serial offender from the 1930s. You don't sound awful, JP. You don't sound awful, my friend. All right. So, yep, absolutely. Patriotism agrees. John Paul, you don't sound awful. All right, so 1930s is the Cleveland torso. I'm gonna say offender. The YouTube's doesn't like the M word, so oh, that is amazing. Patriotism says I sang in choir here at our local church. My youngest nephew, my baby brothers and sister-in-laws that passed away, their son that they adopted, he's 18 now, but they got him when he was 8, and he has the voice of an angel. He can sing, just natural raw talent. He did take a few singing lessons, and then he learned how to play guitar. Writes a little. He used to write a little bit of his own stuff. We've got to get him back into singing more. It's been a while, but I know it's hard because his mom, my sister-in-law that passed away, and my brother too. I mean, they just encouraged him so much. He sang in the church choir. He sang at the school talent shows. He sang at um, any like on homecoming weekend for the school here in the town I live in. We'd have what they call alumni weekend, and they have a big thing at the park. Food, music. Anybody who wanted to come up and sing or do any kind of talent, he would always sing. Anytime they had anything like that going on. But I know it's hard for him now since his mom passed away. But we're gonna try to get him into singing more again. Um, Sunday says serial offender of what? Of people. JP says he doesn't like his own voice, so I go with it. Miranda says she's terrible at singing. I am too. Yep, dial M for, yep. Oh no, but I know what you're talking about. Is it H Holmes? I've heard of him. I don't remember what decade he was though. I'll have to look at it. I'll look him up. I think it's H Holmes or HM Holmes. Don't let me forget, and I will look him up. He's doing okay, Miranda. We're making it. We're all making it. But yeah, we've just been spending a lot of time together, especially through the holidays. The holidays are hard, but we're making it. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well. I know you lost your father not too long ago. So thoughts and prayers and good vibes to you too, and to anybody who's lost anyone at any time. It doesn't matter how long. It doesn't, it maybe gets a little bit easier, but it's still always hard. JP says, I sang in choir. It was easier. I could hide my voice among many. You sound fine. Yeah, see, that's the way I am. Dandy said, I sound good to me, but I make my neighbors suffer. Yeah, thankfully, our only neighbor out here on the farm is my uncle, lives next door, and he's either not home or he can't hear anyway. Yes. Miss Paula knows. Yeah, it's H Holmes, I think. Yeah, he had this big house that he built. He had traps in the houses that he would unalive people. Yes, so supposed to have happened during the World's Fair. I think was it in Chicago, the Chicago World's Fair, if I remember correctly. Yes, H Holmes, I believe is his name. JP says his new book, "How to Evict Your Neighbors, Just Sing." uh, oh, Miss PJ's done a video on Holmes. Uh, yeah, I'll have to refresh. I have read or watched a lot of the TV shows I watch about true crime have featured him at some point. Have done episodes on him at some point or another. So I watched a lot of But he built this big house that basically took up like half a city block or more, and he built all kinds of traps and stuff to trap his victims and take them out, unalive them and dispose of them, drop them down like these chutes into the basement or something like that. Yeah. Very, very scary. Yeah, I believe it is H Holmes. Yep. You talking about H.H. Holmes or the Cleveland torso offender? Miss Doodle said, or Sunday Doodle said, "Oh dang, I forgot about this guy." Miss PJ says, "Didn't he come to New Hampshire?" I don't know. He might have. I know because I think there have been talking about H.H. Holmes. There have been some people who have tried to say that he was Jack the Ripper. You know, and I can't remember if he was before or after Jack the Ripper. I'm assuming maybe after, because I think there's a bit, rabbit hole theories thrown around out there that after the Jack the Ripper events, unalivings, that he came over to the U.S. and some people tried to say that H.H. Holmes, or they think that H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper, but Miss PJ says he and Dr. Death. There used to be a wrestler named Dr. Death. Was it Dr. Death Steve Williams? I don't know if there's any other wrestling fans. Patriotism says, Dawn, just for you, I've started a world's most dangerous offenders or unalivers. Once again, the YouTubes doesn't like the K word either. So excellent. Excellent. Who are you referring to? Sunday Doodle says that means they caught him. No. Or if you're talking about the Cleveland torso, this one right here, the 30s Cleveland torso offender. No. So the Cleveland torso offender says is one of the most famous unidentified offenders of all time. Between September of 1935 and August of 1938, the Cleveland torso offender, also known as the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run, was active during his crime span. 12 known victims were, trigger warning, 12 known victims were dismembered, and their remains were scattered throughout the Kingsbury Run neighborhood on the southeast side of Cleveland. It says several suspects were interrogated by police. However, nearly 100 years later, an offender has never been apprehended. So, and I don't know what that picture is. Maybe of some of the victims, I'm assuming, but I'm trying to figure out what is hanging on the wall. Maybe, I don't know, cast of the victims' faces is what it looks like, maybe. I'm trying to look at it on my computer. I guess I could look at it on my larger slideshow that I keep forgetting. I'm wondering if, because I know sometimes, or back during that time, they would do like plaster cast of the faces of victims for some reason, death mask or whatever they called them. Maybe that's what those are hanging on the wall. Very creepy, very creepy to say the least, whatever they are. So you're watching a series about the world's most dangerous offenders? Oh yeah. I watch ID channel all the time. All the time. Who you talking about, Miss PJ? Say, are you talking about still talking about H.H. Holmes? Miss PJ says, yeah, he was crazy. Excellent. JP says, my daughter is getting her first job. I'm so proud of her. Excellent. Congratulations to her. Most definitely. What's she going to be doing, if you don't mind saying? If not, that's fine. But congratulations to her. Yes, that is awesome. Paula says she thinks Jack the Ripper was a doctor. Yes, that is another popular theory. Absolutely. And that to me, that is one of the more plausible theories. Yeah, JP says very creepy. You're talking about the death mask. Oh, I did that for about 3.5 years, a long time ago, because I worked for the Wally World for 15 years. But I started out my first about 3.5 years. I started out on overnight stalking, unloading trucks and stalking, not stalking. Yep. Yep, I did that. Then I moved to daytime to be a department manager. I wish I would have stayed on the overnight stalking. It was much, I enjoyed it much more. So that's excellent. That is excellent. Oh, and in the Amazon warehouse. Excellent. She gonna be a busy girl. Busy girl. That is fantastic. Yep, I enjoyed the working overnights at Walmart because you didn't have to deal with customers. You didn't really have to deal with. We only had one supervisor there, and actually, the supervisor I had when I was working overnights um, was my baby sister-in-law, the one that passed away that married my baby brother. It was her dad, so I already knew him. So we didn't have any problems, obviously. So I loved working overnights, but it just takes you if you work overnight for any length of time and then you have to go back to a day shift. Oh gosh, it took me forever to get used to the daytime, because working overnights, you would obviously, come home and sleep at least a little bit during the day. And after working overnight for 3.5 years, it probably took me at least a year to get back into the, real time, normal time, to get my body adjusted back to being up during the day and sleeping at night. Oh, Miss PJ said Dr. Death Harold Shipman in the UK was crazy. Good one to look into. Ooh, I'll have to look into that one. Miss PJ also says we have a Dr. Death in the USA too, but the one in the UK is worse. Oh goodness, we have two Dr. Deaths. Oh goodness, so she's going to be doing like forklift, powered industrial truck, forklift, walk riders, and lift trucks. Wow, 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 wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, I just unloaded trucks and stalked. I don't think I could use a pallet jack, but I don't think I ever learned. I never learned the forklift or any of the lift trucks or anything like that. And the walk riders, I never learned any of that. Oh, that was for you. Oh, okay. So I say your daughter is. Hey, when I worked at Walmart, we had a lot of females that drove the forklift and the walk riders and the lift trucks and all that, everything that we used or they used. Like I said, I never learned. I tried learning the forklift once, and they were like, "Nope, you're not doing it." I'd end up taking somebody out. So they said, "No, you don't have to learn how to work the forklift. We're good. We have enough people." Yep, she'll be stalking. I like stalking. I love stalking. It was very satisfying to me because I would organize while I stalked, and then you could get rid of a pallet. I mean, anybody who has never stalked, it's going to be so boring to you. But yeah, it's just something very satisfying about stalking a shelf, organizing it, making it look all pretty. I guess maybe it's a little OCD in me. I don't know. Danny said, what? Says the supervisor at our local Walmart is a flaming Dorito. He is on fire. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. So did we finish on the Cleveland torso mark? Okay. So let me look up. Hold on. Indulge me 1 minute. Let me look up H.H. Holmes. Oh, let's see what we'll just go with good old Wikipedia. If it'll come up once again. Of course, it's taking its time. There it goes. All right, let me take this down for a second and share my screen. Taking a minute to come up. Right. So there is Mr. H.H. Holmes. So Herman. So H.H. Holmes apparently was an alias. Herman Webster Mudgett He was born in May of 1861. He passed away in May of 1896. Better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes or H.H. Holmes. He was an American con artist and serial offender active between 1891 and 1894. He was executed in 1896. He had engaged in a lengthy criminal career that included insurance fraud, forgery, swindling, 3 or 4 bigamous marriages, horse theft, and homicide. So he was into a little bit of everything, apparently. Known as the Beast of Chicago, the Devil in the White City, or the Torture Doctor, his most notorious crimes, yes, took place in Chicago around the time of the World's Columbian Exposition in 1890. I keep wanting to say 1993, 1893. He was convicted and sentenced to the DP for the homicide of Benjamin Peitzel, who was his accomplice in several of his cons. However, he confessed to 27 homicides, including those of some people who were verifiably still alive. So he was kind of like the oddest tool of the 1800s. He would confess to anything. For what does Mr. Steve say, for a cigarette or a 6-pack of beer? He would confess, yeah, I did that person in. It is believed that he also took the lives of 3 of Peitzel's children, as well as 3 mistresses, the child of one mistress and the sister of another. And he was apparently, the rope was the DP back in the day, when he was got his comeuppance. Much of the lore attached to Holmes concerns, yes, this is the house, the so-called M Castle, a 3-story building he commissioned on West 63rd Street in Chicago. Details about the building, along with many of his alleged crimes, are considered exaggerated or fabricated for sensationalistic tabloid pieces, with some accounts estimating his body count could be as high as 133 or even 200. I don't think he had that many. But I think, in my opinion, he did have more than just the all the ones that they've named so far. It says many of these inaccuracies have persisted due to the combination of ineffective police investigation and hyperbolic yellow journalism of the period, which are often cited as historical record. Holmes gave various contradictory accounts of his life, initially claiming innocence and later that he was possessed by Satan. Could it be Satan? His propensity for lying has made it difficult for researchers to ascertain the truth on the basis of his statements. For example, he claimed that Dr. Robert Leacock, a fellow medical classmate, was one of his first victims and that he took his life in 1886 for insurance money. However, Leacock died on October 5th, 1889 in Watford, Ontario, Canada. Since the 1990s, Holmes has often been described as a serial offender. I mean, in his book about Holmes, author Adam Seltzer writes, just unaliving several people isn't necessarily enough for most definitions of a serial offender. More often, it has to be a series of similar crimes committed over a period of time, usually more to satisfy a psychological urge on the offender's part than any more practical motive. He adds the homicides we can connect Holmes to generally had a clear motive. Either someone knew too much or was getting in his way and couldn't be trusted. The homicides weren't simply for love of bloodshed, but a necessary part of furthering his swindling option and protecting his lifestyle. So basically, in this Adam Seltzer's opinion, he was just, if you were in the way, you had to go. Still a very interesting fella, Mr. H.H. Holmes. Not a very good fella, but interesting. All right, let me see where I was in comments. Okay. Oh goodness, you garden center. Garden center was a nightmare. JP says I used to do it too, then ran garden center for a while and worked cap 2. Yeah, I had to help out in garden center sometimes. Ugh. And then I don't know if it was that way in all stores, but in our store, because it was just a small super center, whoever ran garden center was also in charge of the seasonal stuff, like all the Christmas, Thanksgiving, any holiday, all that had to do all that merchandise. And when I went to Days for a while, I was toy department manager, so it was right there by garden center, so I always had to help out with the garden center or seasonal or whatever was up. JP says flaming Dorito. Yes, absolutely. JP, no. Anybody who has worked at Walmart knows. JP says Walmart has too many chiefs and needs more Indians. Absolutely. And now, as who says it? Somebody says since they have the more self checkouts than actual checkers to check you out, I am Walmart's best employee. Checking myself out. Oh, sorry, Dandy. It's fine. You know how it is around here, Dandy. You're fine. It's okay. Everything's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right. We'll stop sharing Mr. Holmes here and get back to our list. All right. So we went over the torso offender. Never been apprehended. So next we have the 1940s. And let me see what the 1940s. Oh yeah, you guys will definitely this one is the victim, a very famous victim from the 1940s in California. Those are the hints. Female victim, 1940s, California. So any guesses? Miss Paula says the Black Dahlia. It's a good guess. I should have done more research for this and seen and then all the decades to see what other besides the ones, just the one per decade that they listed on this article from this website that actually happened. Some other maybe not so famous ones. So Miss Paula is right. It is the Black Dahlia. Very good, Miss Paula. So the Black Dahlia, whose name was Elizabeth Short, grew up on the East Coast. However, she traveled to California at the age of 18 in order to pursue a career in entertainment. Although Short aspired to gain fame as an actress, she gained infamy in her death, which would go on to be known as the Black Dahlia murder. I'll just say it, murder. If they demonetize it, that's fine. Short was discovered in the Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles with her body found in 2 pieces in a vacant lot. She'd been bisected at the waist, drained of blood, and her face was cut in a Glasgow smile. Her nickname, the Black Dahlia, was given to her by the press, and they took inspiration from the 1946 movie, The Blue Dahlia. The LAPD conducted an extensive search for her offender, bringing in over 150 suspects. However, no arrests were ever made. Yes, congratulations to Miss Paula. She was correct. Yeah, Danny says, I don't know about her, but I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't researched it in depth. I just know the basics. And I haven't really dove into any rabbit holes about theories about who. I'm sure there are theories about who the offender was, but I'm trying to think. I can't think off the top of my head of any. Yes, very sad. Absolutely sad. She was beautiful, very beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Miranda says unsolved crimes bother me. Me too. That's why I do the missing persons, the cold cases. That's why I'm so interested in cold cases, because they just bother me. All of them bother me, obviously, but just the longer they go without, the family finding, getting justice, the victim getting justice, or just finding out what happened, it's horrible. Excuse me. And Miss Paula said there was a movie a couple of years ago. We talking about the Black Dahlia. I think I remember that. I don't think I watched it, but I think I remember it, hearing about it. All right, so next is the 1950s. Let me go peek and see what the 1950s is. Oh yeah, this is a good one. I say good one, not in a good way, a bad way. You'll definitely this is an offender. An offender, male offender, when from Wisconsin, from the 1950s. Very famous. Many movie characters have been inspired by this person, Miss Paula guessed Al Capone. That's a good guess. I love me some mafia history too. Absolutely. Yes, Dandy says I can't imagine being a parent or family member lying awake and not knowing. Absolutely. It just, yeah, I couldn't. I can't imagine. Can't imagine. Miss Paula guessed Ed Gein. I can't wait for that new season whenever it's coming out of Monster, the Netflix show that's going to be based on Ed Gein with Charlie Hunnam playing Ed Gein. I'm looking very forward to that. Still haven't got caught up on the first two seasons, the Dahmer, and then the second season was on the Menendez brothers, and then this third season will be about Ed Gein. So Ed Gein is Miss Paula's guess. I've got to get caught up between my DVR being full and my streaming service watch list, everything on my watch list on my streaming services. I'm so behind. But once football season is over, I can get back to because when it's not football season, that's what I do on I work Monday through Friday. I'll work Monday through Friday and then take Saturdays and Sundays off and get caught up on my binge watching, get caught up on all my shows and my things that I want to watch. All right, so Miss Paula was correct once again. Congratulations, Miss Paula. It is Ed Gein from 1950. And he is, I don't want to say one of my favorite, that makes it sound glorified. It's not. To me, he is one of the most interesting offenders that I've ever read into, researched, read books, watched documentaries, TV shows, whatever comes out about Ed Gein. Just so fascinating. I was talking about earlier, one of the hints was many or a few movie characters were based on some loosely based on Ed Gein. I believe the Buffalo Bill character from Silence of the Lambs was loosely based on him, and there have been other characters in movies that were loosely based on him. So yes, that is another one. Inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Absolutely, that is another one. Leatherface. Ed Gein was the inspiration for Leatherface. Yes, absolutely. Very notorious. Yep. Yes, I almost said favorite, but that doesn't sound right. One of the most interesting, not interesting in a good way, interesting in a, I don't know how, you guys know what I'm saying. Anybody who's in true crime or interested in true crime understands when we say interesting, we don't mean we admire them or, glorify them in any way. It's just, they're just horribly fascinating. I just want to know why. I mean, and that's the big question. But then again, you can't trust a psychopath to tell you the truth, because psychopaths are notorious liars. So you would never get the truth out of them anyway. But I always wonder why. I mean, what goes wrong inside their brain, or something that happened to them in their childhood, or a mixture. Were they born that way? Was it something that made them, something in their childhood or growing up in their life that made them do it? Is it a combination of both? It's just, once again, one of the things that keeps me up at night thinking about these things. It gets stuck in my head. JP says Jeepers Creepers. Oh God, I haven't watched that movie in forever. It says Jeepers Creepers closely resembles the couple that saw him dumping the body down the well. Absolutely. Yes, he did not pass away until 1984. See, I thought he passed away a long time before that, but yeah, 1984. So, yes, absolutely. Genes or environment or a combination of both. Absolutely. All right, so Ed Gein is, according to this article, they say Ed Gein is hands down one of the most fascinating serial offenders of all time. I have to agree there. His crimes were so horrific they inspired authors and filmmakers for decades, helping them craft fiction's most frightening offenders. Gein committed his crimes in and around his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin in 1957. Gained, say that fast 3 times. Gein gained international infamy after it was discovered that he had exhumed corpses from local graveyards and used their bones and skin to create trophies. He made like lampshades out of, once again, trigger warning. If anybody here is, I keep saying trigger warning, but it's on the bottom on the crawler. He would make lampshades out of the skin. I think he would use maybe the top of the skull, or somehow make ashtrays and things of that nature from horrible, horrible things. So he used their bone, skin, and other parts to create trophies. He would go on to admit to taking the lives of 2 women, one in 1954, another in 1957, and I believe, I can't remember if it's the first or second one, is the one that they found hanging in his some kind of shed. Basically was disemboweled and otherwise violated. Sorry, I lost my place. He would go on to, so he admitted to 2, one in 1954, one in 1957. At first, he was found unfit to stand trial, and he was confined to a mental health facility until his trial in 1968. During his trial, he was found guilty. However, he was found legally insane, and he spent the remainder of his life in a mental health institution before passing away in 1984 at the age of 77. Yeah, so like I said, very interesting, but very horrific. Very horrific. Yes, he was nutty. That's one way to put it. Yep, JP says he is the definition of every horror word. You are correct. You are correct. Yep. Yes, definitely trigger warning. Yep. I try to say it before I start reading on some of these, and like I said, it's in the crawler too. But and JP says the basement was the worst. Yep. All right, let me sneaky peek. What, 1960? Oh, this one is probably the most. That, just think 1960s. That should give you enough right there. An offender, male. Well, yeah, he's male, but he had minions to do his bidding. This one should be very, very easy for y'all to get. And while y'all are putting in some guesses, I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Smoke them if you got them. Okay, I'm back. I am back. Sorry, I had to take a potty break. Let's see. I like that. Danny says, nutty as squirrel shit. Some people these days. Yeah. JP guessed Jack the Ripper from 1950s. JP says Jack the Ripper. Miss Paula said Charles Manson. It's a good guess. JP says Manson. Uh-oh, Miss PJ, I don't know if she's still here. She's going to have to, teacher PJ is going to have to, Sunday Doodles wasn't paying attention in class. What was the question? 1960s. It's an offender. The 1960s should give it away because whenever, I don't know, that this person is probably the first, and I love the 1960s. Everybody told me I should have been a flower child. I'm a flower child at heart. An offender from the 1960s, very famous, maybe the most famous in the world. Oh, so Sunday said, oh, my doggies had to go out and dang, it's cold. Okay, so you weren't paying attention. It's not that you weren't paying attention. You had to take care of your doggies. Understandable. Yes. Me and the doggies had to take a potty break. Yeah, I tried to hold. I couldn't. My bladder's not what it used to be. Was it in California? Yes, it was. SoCal, Southern California. JP says the California State Killer. You talking about the Golden State Killer? Yeah, the Golden State offender, Kayer and Aliver, which he was caught by finally just a few years ago using good old genetic genealogy. Another thing I'm very interested in. I find that fascinating. All right, so it is Charles Manson, of course. Miss Paula was right. I think JP said it. I agreed with Miss Paula. Yep, definitely Charles Manson. Yeah, either one. If you're talking about Charles Manson or the Golden State Offender, both of them were wacky. Yeah, nutty as fruitcakes. Absolutely. So we all know the story. The story of Charles Manson. So during the late 1960s, Charles Manson began gaining a following. His minions. Yeah, both. Absolutely. Both were wacky. He formed his Manson family cult. This cult consisted of approximately 100 followers, many of which were young women. See, so we're talking about all these women these days who are, or in these times, more modern time, which the 60s, it was a while ago, but, not like the 20s or 30s. But why some of these women are so fascinated with offenders in jail, But Manson, even before he was in jail and definitely after he was in jail, he had his no shortage of female admirers. I just don't understand that. But many of which were young women who were deeply devoted to Manson. During July and August of 1969, 9 homicides were committed by members of the Manson family, including the homicide of actress Sharon Tate and her, trigger warning, and her unborn baby. In 1971, Manson was convicted of first-degree homicide and conspiracy to commit homicide for the deaths of 7 people, including Sharon Tate. He was initially sentenced to the DP. However, the sentence was commuted to life without parole in 1972. And I can't remember why it was commuted. He served his life sentence at the California State Prison in Corcoran, and he passed away at the age of, I have to go back to my bigger slides. I can't read that one. At the age of 83 in 2017. So just 7 years ago, it seemed like it'd been longer than that, but just 7 years ago, he passed away. Yeah, JP said missing marbles for the Squid Game. Yes. Hey, Tomboy Charm. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Yes, exactly. I like the eye roll. Yeah, major eye roll. JP says the interesting thing is they were sane enough to lure in their victims, but then were declared insane. Major eye roll. Yeah. Dandy said his eyebrows commuted him. Yeah, he got, what is with the eyebrow? What is with the bushy eyebrows? Good Lord Almighty. It's because we had Koberger, we got Luigi, Manson had some brows going on there. Tomboy says there, I'm up late sewing and stuff. Wow, I used to sew a lot with my grandma when I was a little girl and growing up. She taught me, well, first taught how to hand sew, you know, actually using a needle and thread, using your hand to sew. And then she taught me, I first learned on one of the foot crank sewing machines. And then she ended up getting an electric one eventually. But yeah, I learned on a foot crank or whatever you call it. I don't know. That's what I called it, where you had to use your foot to push a little pedal to, you know, make the thing go up and down. Yep. Yep. Daddy wants to know what you're making. Dandy loves to sew also. Yes, the unibrow. Yeah, the unibrow. I think Luigi had some unibrow going on. Tomboy says, I just learned to sew last year, right before Christmas, a trundle machine. Is that what it's called? The technical name for it? Oh, I used to love to cross stitch. I love to cross stitch. Yes. And has anybody ever heard of or done, it's called latch hook. It's very hard. It's hard to explain, but you have like little pieces of yarn and you have this little latch hook. It's the name. And you have like a canvas. It's hard to explain. Anybody who's done latch hook, oh my gosh, I love doing it. I need to get back into doing it. It's so, once again, satisfying and calming, good for my anxiety. But yes, I used to love to cross stitch also. So Tomboy is making mini boxy keychain bags. That sounds interesting. Very cool. Sounds very cool. JP says he loves embroidering by hand. Are you being sarcastic? That's okay if you are. Oh, see, Sunday Doodles knows latch hook. Oh God, I love latch hook. Love latch hook. I've got to find, and they're very hard to find now. Back when I was doing it, which I was in a teenager, preteen, and a teenager, and then to my young adulthood, you could find them everywhere, like at Walmart. I mean, you could find them everywhere. I got mine at Walmart. They're very hard to find these days, at least where I live, a very, you know, rural community. I found some a while back on, I think it was eBay. I haven't checked on Amazon uh, to see if there's any on Amazon. JP says sketching is relaxing too. Yeah, if I could draw, I would love to see. I like to do adult coloring books too. You are not kidding. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I have never tried to embroider. I don't know if I would have the patience to do it. And then now getting older, my eyesight, and I've got arthritis in my hands really bad because I used to make jewelry all the time, and I can't hardly do it anymore. Just maybe every once in a while because my arthritis in my hands is so bad, especially making earrings, trying to do them little bitty beads on, you know. But that's fantastic. That is fantastic, JP. Oh, see, Danny knows what I'm talking about. Latch hook. So you can find the latch hooks at Amazon and Hobby Lobby. Excellent. I'm gonna have to get on the Amazon website and see if I can find one to do. Trying to think of the last one I did. I think it was of a duck, I believe. And I think I did kind of like a psychedelic peace sign, rainbow kind of one I had. I need to find those. JP says, I love to sketch a design and then embroider hats and stuff. That is cool. You'll have to post some things that you've done. I would love to see them, truly. I've heard of that. What exactly is that? Sunday Doodle says, I wanted to try diamond art. I have heard of that, but I don't know exactly what that entails. Are you talking about latch hook? Ooh, Danny says patterns are free online if you already know what you're doing. Yeah, I definitely know what I'm doing. All I need is a pattern and the yarn. Or you can buy the yarn, I guess, in any color and trim it down. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Yes, I love Miss Paula says she loves Amazon. I do too. Love Amazon. I spend way too much time on Amazon and eBay. Tomboy says, any craft you can imagine, I can do. Man, I used to do crafts all the time. I started out doing crafts, and then I started, actually, that's probably the first thing I watched on YouTube was craft, how to do craft videos. And then I got into watching jewelry making videos, and I thought, well, hey, I can do that. So I started making jewelry, and I made a pretty good amount of money selling jewelry, making and selling jewelry. I just, like I said, I had an Etsy shop. That I sold jewelry on. I had a Facebook page. I had it sold it on eBay. But I just, like I said, between my eyes and my arthritis in my hands, it's just hard to do. JP says, I've seen latch hook done by my grandmother. She was fast at it. Oh yeah, once you get it down, you can do it fast. Like I said, it's very calming to me when I did it. It helped my anxiety. Very calming, very satisfying, very fulfilling. Just, I love the repetitiveness of it. It was calming to me. See, Tomboy does all the things. Woodworking, building, epoxy, tumblers, keychains. Excellent. Yes. JP says he does lettering too, putting lettering on cloth. Excellent. Do you embroider on t-shirts or any kind of shirts, JP? Hey, you don't have to be great at it. I wasn't when I was making jewelry and whatever other crafts I was doing. I wasn't the greatest at it, but it was fun to me. It was relaxing to me. Evidently, some people thought it was decent because they would give me money for it. So, but yeah, if it's just, if it does something to help you, if it's fun, if it's relaxing, calming, whatever, absolutely. Oh, JP says, I draw better than I make music. Yeah, I had one of my best friends in high school. She could draw. Oh my God, she could draw anything. I can't draw. I can barely draw stick figures. Paula says, I believe diamond art is painting diamonds. I said, I've heard of diamond art, but I don't. Oh, I love sun catchers. Danny said, Hobby Lobby. I love me some Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby usually has 50% off sales. I make sun catchers. Excellent. Tomboy says, I tried doing one of those jeweled tumblers. I got about 30 minutes in and was ready to throw it across the room. Yeah, the older I get, my patience, I don't, it's not what it used to be. Yeah, that's the sad thing. JP says, but people really don't buy art much anymore. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah, because when I first made my Etsy shop to sell my jewelry, and Etsy started out as literally, handmade anything by just individuals, small businesses, and then the further that it went along, it became like a retail, like a big box store or something. It wasn't the handmade individual, So, and after that happened to Etsy, I actually sold more of my jewelry through my Facebook page because I was in a bunch of jewelry selling groups, craft groups on Facebook, and that's where I sold most of my jewelry, because Etsy just turned into just a production line for production line stuff. It really irritated me. Sunday says it's sticking little diamonds on a pattern. I thought that sounds right to me. Yeah. Okay, so Tomboy says diamond art is like paint by numbers with tiny little diamonds. Oh, if it's tiny little anything, I wouldn't be able to do it. Oh, I remember Bedazzle. Dandy says diamond art is bedazzled gone wild. Oh Lord, I don't think I was lucky enough. I was a poor girl. I didn't have a bedazzler, the little thing to bedazzle things. I had friends who had them. Yes, times do change, unfortunately. Yes, there's a new trend every day, absolutely, and it's nothing. And there's nothing original anymore. I mean, come on. I mean, anyway. All right, so I'm caught up again. So let me mark that. So next we have 1970. Let me take a peek at 1970. Oh yeah, another very famous offender, 1970s. He was all over Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado. He was also very popular with the ladies. This one will be an easy one to get for you guys. Male offender all over. Washington, or they list Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Florida is another one. Yep, Florida. Oh, they do list it, Florida. So you guys will get this one easy. Don't say that. I feel old. I was born in 1971. No, I know I'm old. Paula said Zodiac. JP says Zodiac or the Unabomber. Tomboy said Ted Bundy. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Oops, I almost put this into a dumpster fire. Yeah, Dandy says 78 was a long time ago. I'm feeling arthritic. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Oh, goodness. We got to get our hurricanes and our walkers and everything else out. Sunday's guest Bundy. JP said Dahmer was into young guys, so not him. Grab my drink. So it is, of course, Ted Bundy. Most of you guys guessed Bundy. But there were a lot, like I said, and especially the 70s and 80s, there were so many. It was scary looking back at it now. So many in the 70s, from the 70s and 80s. We could probably do a whole show or more shows about just the 70s and 80s serial offenders. But the one they selected in this article was Ted Bundy, of course. Yes, JP says Ted Bundy, Mr. Romance. Yep. So yes, they say here there were several famous or infamous serial offenders who rose to infamy during the 1970s, but one of the most shocking was Ted Bundy. Bundy began his kidnapping and unaliving spree during 1974. He later confessed to having 30 victims, with 20 officially confirmed. Bundy targeted young women throughout Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, and Colorado, luring them into his car with his charm and his good looks. I never thought Bundy was that good looking, or good looking at all. Bundy was first arrested for kidnapping in 1975. However, he was not connected to his fatal crimes until being captured in Florida in 1978. I believe that's where he killed the 2 or 3 nurses. For the homicides Bundy had committed in Florida, he did receive 3 DPs, and he was executed at the Florida State Prison in, was it Rayford? I have to go back to Rayford or Ralford. Dadgummit, hold on. I'm trying to push buttons. Rayford in 1989. That was the year I graduated high school. So yes, Ted Bundy. What are some other ones from the 1970s? Because I know I get my 70s and 80s confused, because you had Dahmer, you had Bundy, you had Gacy, you had Zodiac, but I can't remember, like, all in that time frame, 70s and 80s, and probably a lot that I'm forgetting, or that, or are not as famous. Oh my goodness. Dandy says Bundy stopped in her town in his VW Bug, escaped from Glenwood, Colorado. Wow. Yeah, JP said the same thing. Wow. Absolutely. You agree that he wasn't that good looking? Is that what you're saying, Miss Paula? Yeah, I never thought. Yeah, that's what people mention when, Bundy was so good looking and a charmer. Well, she probably was a charmer because he was a psychopath and a liar. So their natural, I don't know if I would use charm as the word, but manipulator. Yeah, I never thought he was good looking at all. Yes, absolutely. Sunday says he also wore a fake cast and asked for help. Yep. See, and I wonder, going back to the movies, if you're talking about Silence of the Lambs, when we were talking about Ed Gein earlier, there is the one scene where puts the lotion on the skin. The governor's daughter, whoever it was, the government official's daughter, I can't think of her name in the movie. Anyway, when she was kidnapped, that's the ruse that the Buffalo Bill used. Was he had a cast or something, or he's trying to put a couch or something in the back of a van, and that's how he lured her in the movie. So that always, I've always wondered if they got that. I'm sure they did. Inspired by Ted Bundy, because that was the ruse that he would use. Ooh, bunches of comments popped up. Yes, Gainesville. Yes, Gainesville, Florida, at the university. Yes, is where he killed the nursing students. As Paula said, Zac Efron portrayed him in a movie. Zac Efron, was he in High School Musical? Because when High School Musical came out, my nephew or my niece was at the age where she loved High School Musical, or whatever it was called. I can't even think anymore. And I watched it 20,000 times. I think I'm trying to erase it from my memory. Was he in that? I think that's where I know him from. Yes. Dandy says Grand Junction, Colorado. Yes. Dahmer. Yep. BTK. Oh yeah. How can we forget about BTK? Most definitely. Yep. Gacy. The Golden State Defender. Yes. The Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez. Which one? JP says, was that the guy that would peep into windows? There was one that I remember. You talk the Golden State Killer. And then get in their house and do stuff. I think so. Or are you talking about Bundy? It's probably more than one. I'm sure at some point, in my opinion, these serial offenders were peeping Toms. Yes, he was very strange. Oh, it's not coming up. There it goes. He was strange. Mainly, JP says mainly apartments and small houses. Paula says he manipulated the scene in front of the press with the DA. Yes. And I remember seeing that picture or whatever of when he went crazy in the courtroom and jumped over the table or whatever. I don't know if he was going after the judge or whatever, but that picture, that the famous picture that you always see, was just that evil, that his mouth open screaming and just that look in his eyes. Yes, Dandy says Bundy and Kohberger have similar eyes. They do. They do. Yeah, JP says they all have black eyes. Yes, evil eyes. Absolutely. Yep, like there. JP says like there's nothing but darkness. It's very noticeable. Absolutely. So it was High School Musical. That's why I thought that he was that. That's what Zac Efron was in. Yes, BTK was. He's another. And I think I have made a slideshow that I was planning on doing either a video or a live stream at some point about the BTK. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. Oh yeah, which one was that? Yeah, which one was that? Somebody remind me. Miss Paula said there was one where the offender said that his dog was talking to him. Was that Zodiac or was that a different one? That's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, oh my goodness, which one was that? Oh, I can't remember. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I remember that. I know what you're talking about, Miss Paula, but I can't remember exactly who it was. Yeah, yeah. JB says, I walk away from people with black eyes. I won't talk to them. Oh, yeah, maybe it was Son of Sam. Ah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Tomboy. Let me look that up or it's going to drive me crazy. I think you're right, though. Put Son of Sam talking dog and see what comes up. Let's see what good old Wikipedia says. So David, yeah, David Berkowitz, David Richard Berkowitz, also known as Son of Sam, an American serial offender who pled guilty to perpetrating 8 pew-pewings in New York City between 1976 and 1977, resulting in 6 fatalities. He grew up in New York City, served in the U.S. Army, blah, blah, blah. He killed or unalived 6 people, wounded 7 others. By July of 1977, he eluded the biggest police manhunt in the city's history while leaving letters mocking the police and promising further crimes, which were highly publicized by the press. He was arrested on August 10th, 1977, and he was indicted for 8 pew-pewings. He confessed to all of them and initially claimed to have been obeying the orders of a demon manifested in the form of a black dog belonging to his neighbor Sam. So that's where he got the name Son of Sam. So yes, thank you, Tomboy. You're correct. Yep. He thought that his neighbor's dog was possessed by a demon and telling him to go out and do these things. Crazy, crazy people. Yes, absolutely. I know, I am too, Dandy. I just want to know why. Yes, what makes them do this? What makes them do it? Yep, you're right, JP. Just pure evil, pure evil, and that's usually just because they get. Usually, in most cases, it comes down to they can do it. They have no conscience. It's fun to them. Exciting to them. They just like to do it. Just pure and simple. Because some of these what they call criminal profilers said, I want to get into the mind of the serial offender, and this is the reason they do it, and all this big, Occam's razor. Come on, Occam's razor. The simplest answer is they have no conscience. It's fun to them. It's enjoyable to them, and this is just my opinion. I'm not a professional anything, but You know, it's fun to them and gives them a sense of pleasure or whatever. So that's the reason they do it. Simple as that. Yes, Miss Paula says there was a movie about him too, and the Zodiac. Absolutely, the movie Zodiac, or was it a TV show, or both? Because I watched a movie, I think it was called Zodiac, and then there was a TV series. What was it called? David Duchovny was in it. I know you guys will probably have to help me out again, but it was set during the Zodiac, the hunt for Zodiac. But David Duchovny was in it. He was the main character, but I can't remember the name of the show now. It was a good show, and I can't remember who was in the movie Zodiac. Yes, they get a fix. Yeah, just something. Yeah, something to make them feel good. They get enjoyment and pleasure out of it for whatever reason. Simple as that. Yep. Dandy says, I don't believe people are innately born evil, though. I don't either. I think something, I don't know, something goes wrong. I mean, because, we're all born innocent, born innocent. And somewhere along the way, something in the brain misfires or something happens in their life or something, a switch goes on or goes off or wires get crossed or a combination of all those things. And yeah, I just, yes, absolutely. It's all about their personal fulfillment. Yep. Yes. JP also says evil is a choice, just like a choice to do good. Absolutely. Yeah, Miss Paula says, I was born in 79, so what I know about Bundy is from TV and the internet and the movie. Same here. Same here. Oh, you're talking about the movie? Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. and Jake. Yes, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes. Yeah, JP says anything can cause it. Abuse comes in many forms. You are correct. You are correct. And that is also correct, but that is not an excuse or a license to do evil. I agree. 100%, sir. Yep, Daddy says it affects everyone differently. You're correct, ma'am. All right, so let me take a sneak peek at who 1980s. Oh yeah, you guys will know him. We mentioned him earlier. An offender. In the once again in the Los Angeles area. He used a variety of weapons, such as tire irons, machetes, knives, firearms. Talk about evil. To me, anybody who's heard me or watched me for any length of time, I'm looking at his picture right now. I cannot even stand to look at a picture of this person. So if anybody of you who's been watching me has heard me, you'll know who I'm talking about. I just pure evil to me, just pure evil. There's just nothing, no soul, nothing, nothing. All right, I gotta get away from that picture for a minute. Let me see what you guys say. Tomboy says Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. JP says, I think ultimately they lose respect for life through personal selfishness. That I agree with you. I agree. Hey, Miss Heather Brown is here. Hello, Heather. Heather is in the house. Heather has entered the building. Good to have you here, hun. She is one of our night owls, along with Miss Paula and anybody else who tunes in to Dave out on the prowl on Saturday night, Sunday morning. It is great to see you too, Miss Heather. Always good to have Miss Heather here. So Miss Paula says Unsolved Mysteries did a segment on the Zodiac. They came up with a suspect and they think it is the Unabomber. So I think Zodiac and the Unabomber are the same person. That's interesting. Yeah, Heather says the party's here. Yeah, it's about party time, isn't it? It is 1:10 a.m. Central Time where I'm at. Yes, that is another one. Aileen Warnock or Eileen. I can never. Aileen. I think it's Aileen. Aileen Warnos. Yep. She was another though. Very rare to have a female serial offender. Very rare. She's the only one I can think of. I'm sure there are other ones out there. If any of you guys can think of another female serial offender, but yeah, whenever you say female serial offender, Eileen Wuornos is the first one, only one that pops into my mind. Absolutely. Yeah, JP. Where'd it go? JP says the best party is here. Oh, the best party is at Dave's. I'm telling you. JP, you've popped into Dave's chat every once in a while, haven't you? Dave, love Dave's chat, but I love our chat too. And a lot of people that is in our chat here is in Dave's chat. Yep, Miss Paula's on the East Coast, so it's 2:10. Oh yeah, Bonnie and Clyde. Yep, absolutely. I think they would be, because there's this debate about are they serial offenders, are they spree offenders, are they mass offenders? I don't know. What would you consider Bonnie and Clyde? Like spree offenders? Heather said there was a queen that killed thousands. True. Oh, JP says he goes anywhere if the mood is right. Absolutely. He says Highwaymen, good movie. Why does that sound familiar? JP says mass. Yeah, banks and homicides. Yeah. So yeah, to me, Bonnie and Clyde would be either mass or spree. But to me, once again, you read one site or one place will give a definition of either a serial, a mass, or a spree as one thing, and then you go to another site or another article and it'll give a different definition. So it's kind of, yeah. See, that's wham. Heather says heard of it but never seen the highwayman. Is it highwayman or highwaymen? JP, I have to look it up. Hold on. Is it from 2019? Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson. Is that the one you're talking about? Kathy Bates. Oh, I love Kathy Bates. Oh, Kim Dickens is in it. She was in The Walking Dead. Okay, yeah. This movie created the mystery of Bonnie and Clyde and the drama and havoc that created throughout the South. They created throughout the South. Oh, I haven't watched that one. I'll have to watch it. It's got Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson, Kathy Bates, Kim Dickens, Emily Probst, Thomas Mann, John Carroll Lynch, W. Earl Brown, Edward Boser, yeah, Jane McNeil. I'll definitely have to check that out. Yes, that is it. Yep, it's Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson. Absolutely. Yes, I love Woody Harrelson too. I remember him. The first thing I saw him in, of course, was Cheers, the old 80s TV show Cheers. And then, of course, he's in the zombie. What's it called? The Zombie Land or whatever it is. Zombie Land movies. JP says the movie is a great depiction of the events. I will definitely put that on. I wonder. I'll have to check my streaming services and see where I can watch it at. I will definitely check it out. All right. So, I said we were up to the 1980s. Were we guessing the 1980s? I think y'all were guessing. Yes, Natural Born Killer. I love that movie. Natural Born Killers. That is an excellent movie. Oh, maybe that's why that name sounds familiar. Miss Paula says W. Earl Brown was in Scream 1, the first Scream movie. That's probably why that sounds familiar to me. All right, so 1980, they picked Richard Ramirez, and I cannot stand to look at him. I could not even a picture. Yes, I love me some Rob Zombie movies and music. House of a Thousand Corpses. I watched everything Rob Zombie has ever done. Everything. Oh, yep. So love the Firefly trilogy. You got House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and three from Hell. And then all he did reimaginings, reboots of Halloween. He made two Halloween movies. Salem. Oh crap, my mind's shutting down. The Salem one about the Salem witches, and he did. Oh, he's just done. I love Rob Zombie. Love him. And I loved his music first when he was with White Zombie, and then when he went solo, and I've seen him in concert twice. And then, like I said, I've seen all his movies. Love me some Rob Zombie. Are you saying he's nuts, or that's nuts? Richard Ramirez is nuts. Yes, Rob Zombie movies. If you've never watched any Rob Zombie movie, they're not for everybody. They're not for everybody. So if you decide to watch any of his movies, if you haven't watched them, be very careful. Just to go in, use caution. A trigger warning, extreme trigger warnings. But yes, I absolutely, I love his style. Love his style. Heather say you used to listen to White Zombie. I did too. And they actually got that name from, there was an old horror movie name that was called White Zombie, and that's where they got the name for the group, White Zombie. And then Rob went out on his own and went solo with his music, and then he started making writing and making movies. Paula, you talking about Richard Ramirez? I cannot stand looking at pictures of Richard Ramirez. JP says me 3. All right, so Richard Ramirez. So serial offender Richard Ramirez went by many names, including the walk-in. I'm gonna have to read it from hold on. Go to my big slide, including the walk-in killer and the Valley Intruder, but he was best known as the Night Stalker, obviously. Ramirez began his spree in the greater Los Angeles area during June of 1984. And his crimes continued until he was captured in August of 1985. Ramirez claimed over 15 victims and was notorious for attacking his victims in their homes, often bringing in a wide variety of weapons such as tire irons, machetes, knives, and handguns. Ramirez had a strong interest in Satanism, often forcing his victims to swear to Satan while being tortured. Ramirez was convicted of 13 counts of homicide, 5 counts of attempted homicide, 11 counts of SA, and 14 counts of burglary in 1989. He received 19 death sentences, and he did pass away in 2013 from complication of B-cell lymphoma cancer while awaiting the DP on death row. So that is the lowdown, as if we didn't already know about Richard Ramirez. And I think there was, I can't remember what season it was, but I love American Horror Story, the TV show anthology series. And there was one of the seasons that he was featured, or he was a character in. I can't remember which season it was though. But the actor they got who played him did a very good job, but very, very creepy. Very creepy. Heather says, being from Wisconsin, I can think of many SKs. Yeah, we talked about Ed Gein earlier. He was, what year was he? 1950s? Yep, good old Ed Gein did his doings there in Wisconsin, not in the 1950s. We had Manson, Bundy, or up to the 80s, to Ramirez. Heather says, it seems like we're the capital of crazies. No, there's crazies everywhere, unfortunately. Yeah, that is true. JP says he reminds me of the kids that did the Columbine. Yep. I agree. Yes. Yep. He was definitely beyond spooky. It's just evil, Pure evil. Just look at I can't look at him. Just look at those eyes. Nothing. Just nothing behind those eyes. Heather said she needs to find out who the Zodiac was before she dies. I know. Yeah, Miss Paula said there was a documentary on Netflix about him. Are you talking about Zodiac or Ramirez or both? Heather says Zodiac. It's still talking about Zodiac. Oh my goodness, or Zodiac lived where your mom did? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's true. JP says no crazy people hold no preference on location. That is true. Very true. All right, so we're up to the 1990s. Let me look at who they picked for. Oh goodness, this one, a victim has been in the news a lot lately. Female from the 1990s. If I give anything else, that'll be you'll definitely get it. You'll probably get it just for that. Female victim, 1990s. She's been in the news a lot recently. A new documentary just came out. I think it was on Netflix about her. Oh, I'm pushing buttons. Watch out. I'll send this into a dumpster fire. Yep, we talked about Ed Gein earlier. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I mean, Paul was talking about both. Yeah, Ramirez and the Zodiac. Yep. I would have put her in there as an offender. Now, this one for the 90s is a victim, because some of these this article did was offenders and some were just victims. But yeah. Oh, Ed Gein. Oh my goodness. So Ed Gein. So Heather says when he was younger, Ed Gein lived where my mom did. Oh my goodness. Miss Paula has a lot of guesses. Yeah, there could be a lot from the 90s. Miss Paula says Dahmer, OJ, JonBenet, and the West Memphis Three. I would have probably picked, if we're going with offenders and or cases, I would have definitely picked West Memphis Three as the biggest case of the 90s. But just because I live in Arkansas. But I don't know, West Memphis Three is everywhere. Because here in Arkansas, we have West Memphis Three in the 90s. We had Morgan Nick in the 90s. We had Melissa Witt in the 90s. There are a lot of victims here in Arkansas in the 90s. Tomboy said a victim, JonBenet Ramsey. Yes, it is a victim, not an offender this time. This time it was a victim. And it is JonBenet Ramsey, of course. And she has been at the Joe Berlinger, talking about West Memphis Three. So Joe Berlinger and did this new documentary. I think it's on Netflix with John Ramsey that just came out. And Joe Berlinger is the same one that did the Paradise Lost trio of documentaries about the West Memphis Three. And then her dad, John, has come out, which I kind of agree with him about, if they have any DNA from this case, because he was wanting them to basically do the genetic genealogy with the DNA from JonBenet's case. I agree with him there. If you have, anything, I would test it. So let me go to my bigger slides. So it says, when it comes to unsolved homicides, no case is more highly discussed than the killing of JonBenet Ramsey. Ramsey was 6 years old at the time of her death, and she lived with her family in their upper class home in Boulder, Colorado. On the morning of December 26, 1996, Ramsey's body was discovered in the basement of the family home approximately 7 hours after she was reported missing. She sustained a broken skull from a blow to the head. She had been strangled, with the official COD ruled as asphyxia by strangulation associated with, I'm going to try not to butcher this, craniocerebral trauma. And I would say blunt force trauma. Her death was ruled a homicide, and police initially suspected that the ransom note and body had been staged by the family in order to cover up a homicide. Ramsey's case earned international acclaim as her mother, Patsy Ramsey, had entered her into a number of child beauty pageants. And see, they always make that. But living in the South, back in that day, 80s, 90s, I mean, every little girl was in beauty pageants. That was just a thing down here. And apparently other places too. But I know in the South in the 80s and 90s, child beauty pageants were just, it was a thing. I mean, every little girl, you didn't have to look like JonBenet Ramsey to be in a beauty pageant. I mean, every little girl was in I was even in a beauty pageant, and look at me. I mean, it was just a thing. I mean, you know, because they talk about all the, and I mean, I agree with all the makeup that was put on. I don't agree with that, you know, and maybe some of the outfits, but yeah, I mean, it was just beauty pageants were a thing back in the day. That's just my 2 cents on the beauty pageant thing. So I lost my place. So Patsy Ramsey had entered her in a number of child beauty pageants. To this day, her case remains unsolved and is an open investigation with the Boulder PD. So of course, JonBenet was going to be, you know, in this. What are some others? I can't think of anything off the top of my head from the 1990s. Like, well, I named the ones from like here in Arkansas: West Memphis 3, Morgan Nick, Melissa Witt. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yep, that was the biggest hint. Yeah, Tommy said, and you said in the news recently. Yeah, yes, Columbine was in the 90s. JP's opinion is that the mom and dad are liars. Heather agrees. Oh, yeah. Tomboy says, speaking of Morgan Nick, I sent some info to Arctic Fox True Crime, about the guy who they named. Shit, his name just flew out of my head. Billy Jack Links. About the guy who they named in her case. He needs to be looked at for the Fort Worth 3 that went missing before he left the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 1974. Ooh, I didn't know Billy Jack Links. If you're talking about Billy Jack Links, because he was the only person that was officially named as a suspect person of interest. Now, he passed away a long time ago, but I didn't know he was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 1974. That is very interesting. Oh, I know Arctic will take that information and run with it. He'll do everything he can to find anything out. Going back to JonBenet, Heather says, whether they were involved or not, they weren't good people, in my opinion. That's fair. JP says, by the way, anyone can turn a garrote. True. JP says, I think John didn't want to do it anymore and pissed off mom, and mom wasn't having the rebellion. Heather says she doesn't agree with a lot of the beauty pageant stuff. Yeah, I don't agree. And I don't know if beauty pageants are much of a thing anymore as far as child beauty pageants. But like I said, back in the 80s and 90s, they were, I mean, down here in the South, I can just speak for where I live. They were a thing. I mean, it was common, very common for every little girl was in at least one beauty pageant when they were a child in their life. I mean, and some were, you know, kind of like JonBenet did, you know, a lot of them. But yeah, I don't agree with like all the makeup and then some of the costumes, you know, if the skimpy costumes and things, you know. But you know, back in the 80s, at least here in the state in Arkansas, back in the 80s and 90s, it was like the costumes were like the big fluffy dresses with all the ruffles and the, you know, the little leotards and the cute little buckle up shoes. You know, it was different, you know. So Heather says she was in a beauty pageant at 12. Yeah. Some cheesy one. To me, all beauty pageants are cheesy. That's just my opinion. JP says, and in his opinion, Dad was just backing up his wife's behavior and enabler. Ah, so Billy Jack Links. Tomboy says, yes, he worked at Dallas Fort Worth until, or DFW until 1974, then moved to Arkansas. Interesting. See, I'd always just read about his Oklahoma ties, but I didn't know about the Texas ties. I agree. JP says, I do not agree with the exploitation of children. I agree. Yep, that is true. In John Monet's case, there was a crime scene. Ms. Paula says the crime scene photo revealed a window in the basement open from the outside. That is true. Do you mean cheese ball? You said chess ball. Is the autocorrect get you? Heather says, I had to look like a, I'm assuming you meant cheese ball at that pageant. I was so nervous. Everybody looked like cheese balls at pageants. Tomboy says, I lived in Denver when that happened. Boulder PD bungled that case from the get-go. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Oh, yeah. So he worked at DFW Airport. Wow. Ooh, I'm going to have to talk to Arctic. I had to bug him some more. He probably gets mad at me. He's probably like, quit bugging me. Probably was thinking, quit messaging me. Oh, goodness. All right. So we're up to, this may be the, no, I think we got the 2000s and the 2010s. So we have 2 left. So the 2000s, I've heard of this one. I've not done. This is an offender, a female. Let's see, where did she? Oh, if I say where her where her crime was committed, you definitely get it. She grew up in Seattle, Washington. In 2007, she studied abroad in a different country. So that's about all I can give you that won't, without entirely giving it away. So Tomboy says Paula Woodward was a reporter at KUSA in Denver. She's kept up on the case from the start. Interesting. Yeah, autocorrect gets me too, and Dandy. Tomboy guessed or Amanda Knox. Miss Paula guessed Amanda Knox. Sorry, it's getting a drink. My voice is about to give out. It's a good thing we got this one, this next one, and I think one more. And Miss Paula says that me too. Me 3. Which one are you talking about? Heather says Jason Jensen covers this extensively. He's a friend. Covers which one? All right, JP. I hope we're still here. JP said I need to go, but we'll be back if still here in a bit. Thank you, JP, for stopping in. Absolutely, for being here, not just stopping in. You were here from the beginning, basically. Always a pleasure to have JP here. And yes, the 2000s, they did pick Amanda Knox in this article. And once again, for anybody coming in late, the link to the article I used for this list is in the description. It's from the website called rebelcircus.com. Very interesting website. I has lots of lists like these and articles about all kinds of subjects. They do have a lot of true crime and horror stuff and anything you can think of. A very interesting site. You talking about Amanda Knox? Tomboy says she was exonerated. Like I said, I've heard of this one. I haven't, we know the basics. But yeah, let me find go to my bigger slideshow so I can read it. Excuse me. So during the mid 2000s, Amanda Knox was the most heavily discussed college student in America. Knox grew up in Seattle, Washington, and in 2007, she studied abroad in Perugia, Italy. During her stay, she was wrongfully committed wrongfully convicted, I think that meant, for the homicide of her roommate Meredith Kircher, a fellow exchange student. Knox was 20 at the time, and upon returning to her apartment after spending the night at her boyfriend's, she discovered that Kircher's door was locked and she found blood in the bathroom. During police interrogations, Knox allegedly implicated herself. She was then arrested. In the initial trial, Knox was convicted. I keep saying convicted. Was sentenced to 26 years in prison, and the Italian media had a field day painting Knox as a violent seductress. This was not the case, however, as Knox was innocent and a known burglar, Rudy, I'm gonna butcher this name, Guede, Guede, was connected to the homicide after his bloodstained fingerprints were found on Kircher's possessions. Amanda Knox was freed in 2011 and definitively acquitted by the Italian Supreme Court in 2015. So yes, she was exonerated. Trying to think of some other big cases that happened in the 2000s. So basically from 2000 to 2010 is what they consider, or 2009. 2000 to 2000, I can't talk. 2000 to 2009. What are some other big cases that happened during that time frame? Which case, Heather? Heather says, if you haven't seen Jason Jensen, he's on Court TV fairly often. You definitely should check him out. He's more into the case than anyone I've seen. Are you talking about JonBenet or? Okay, so you said JonBenet earlier. Heather said that girl was so guilty, but she was exonerated, and they found. I mean, to me, bloody fingerprints on the possessions, kind of, Yeah. Okay, so you are talking about JonBenet. Okay, gotcha. Yep, 9/11 unfortunately happened, yep, in 2001. So I don't think there's any big homicides or, because once you get past like the at least known offenders, now unfortunately and scarily, horrifyingly, there are probably more serial offenders. There are more serial offenders out there that are not known about currently. So there's always a serial offender somewhere operating, or more than one. But it seems like after the 80s and 90s, they kind of started, you don't hear about them as much. And I mean, not like some of these ones that committed their crimes back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s are getting caught now, like Rex Heuermann, Long Island, Elias, Golden State offender was just a few years ago. He was identified. So with the use of a genetic genealogy, they are, thank goodness, finding some offenders and identifying some victims through genetic genealogy. Yep, absolutely. 9/11 was awful. Tomboy says hers was the first case of transfer DNA that was used to convict someone. Yes, transfer DNA is. Don't get me started on that. Ugh. Yep, I remember. I remember that day. I remember the day too. I was talking earlier. JP was talking about his daughter was just started or was fixing to start a job at Walmart as an overnight stalker. That's what I was doing, and I just got home. I worked the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift overnight. I just got home and got something to eat and laid down to go to sleep for a while. And I've always slept with the radio or TV on. And all of a sudden I think I was listening. I actually had the radio on and started saying, they talked about the first plane hit, and then I was like, okay, it's just like most people thought it was just a horrible accident. And then when the second plane hit, and then you had the Pentagon, and then you had the Shanksville, and then of course everybody pretty much knew when the second plane hit the other tower that it was not an accident, that something was going on. But I have been to the was it Flight 77, the Shanksville? I have been out to that site, that memorial, what they built out there. Oh, it's very beautiful, but it's just so sad at the same time. So sad. But it's just unfortunately the day we were there it was raining, so because you can go out and walk, they have pathways. You can actually walk out to where they have like a big rock or boulder at the place where the plane actually came down. I mean, you can walk all through there, and along the way they have plaques telling what happened, the events. And then they have a inside, it's just so we just did the inside stuff because it was raining when we were there. But I would love to go back there someday and walk the whole outside field and just take it all in. It's very sad. Like I said, it was beautiful and sad all at the same time. Yes, the Beltway snipers. Yep, yep. Israel Keys. Yes. Tomboy says, I know way too much about SKs. No, that's the way we all are. That's the way we all are. Yeah, that's true. Heather says, I did not during after 9/11, I did not change the channel for at least 2 months. No exaggeration. Oh, I know. Well, you couldn't, even if you changed the channel, it was on every channel. Every channel. Heather agrees. Do you know too much about serial offenders? Oh, goodness. Miss Paula says, at the time, I was enrolled in a program called Embark, which is affiliated with Salem State College in Salem, Massachusetts. They helped me get a job at the mall. We watched the planes hit the towers there. It's horrible. I would love to go. Speaking of Salem, the Salem witch trials, another thing I've always been very interested in. I would love to visit Salem. I'm talking about West Memphis 3. I think at one time, I don't know if he still lives there, Damien Eccles and his wife, Lori, or whatever her name moved to Salem. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Tomboy says, my ex at the time lost a brother and brother-in-law in the collapse of the towers. Oh my goodness. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes. It's horrible, horrible day. Horrible. Mm-mm-mm. Yep, Heather said that is something I would never get over, Paula. Yep. Yeah, because after, of course, I didn't see obviously the first plane hit because that's when it was first being reported. But after the first one hit, and then of course, all the TV film crew started coming out. And then, of course, many of them captured the second plane. But I remember, because at the time I was living here, my mom was living here in this house. One of my brothers and his kids had moved in for a little while, and I got up when the first one hit. I got up and they were in, because I was sleeping in another bedroom because my brother and the kids were in my bedroom. and that's where one of the TVs was. And so I got up and we turned it over. We shooed the kids out and, you know, to another TV to watch cartoons or whatever. And then we saw the second plane hit, and then they were, you know, the Pentagon, and horrible, horrible. Oh my goodness. And Miss Paula says, and I called my boss to see if they needed me. So I hopped on the bus and went to my job at MCGHEE'S. We listened to the coverage on the radio after my shift. I walked up to the empty and closed mall. Oh my goodness. Mm. Oh, you're talking about JFK? Or, yeah. Tomboy says, I've lived in Dallas for almost 20 years and have yet to go to the sixth floor museum. Yep. It's another case that, don't be talking about snakes, Heather. Now Heather's talking about snakes, talking about rattlesnakes. Miss Paula says, and I went to the food court where I would meet my father. I was able to get a soda myself. The only song that was playing was a song from Pearl Harbor. Oh my goodness, bless your heart. All right. Okay, so next next one should be the last one. From the 2010s. It's an offender. A male killed basically his whole, or he did, killed his family. And it was in Colorado. In Colorado. Trying to see if I can give anything else without this one's pretty easy too. Male offender took out his whole family, wife and kids, in Colorado. Tomboy says Chris Watts. Yep, I just couldn't imagine, Miss Paula. I can't imagine being being by myself in it. Oh Lord, in an empty place. Oh my goodness, I would be terrified. Terrified. Oh my goodness. Miss Paula says, my father had to walk around the outside of the mall to find an open door, and someone did let him in after that. A few minutes later, I got my first cell phone. Oh my goodness. Well, thank goodness somebody was there to let your dad in to get you. Oh my goodness. Heather says, Watts is heartless. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. So it is Chris Watts. They picked, this article picked for the 2010s. So it says one of the most recent serial offenders to take over the shoe crime world is Chris Watts. I don't know if I would consider him a serial offender, but I mean, because as far as I know, I mean, of course I know this case. I haven't deep dived it, but he killed his wife and his two children. So to me, he's more of like a family annihilator, just definitely a psychopath, but in my opinion. But I don't know about serial offender. But then again, if you go by most definitions of a serial offender, well, it's 3 victims, but they're usually spaced out over separate events. This was, I think, just they consider this one event. But anyway, at any rate, so Chris Watts lived in Frederick, Colorado, with his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 children, 4-year-old Bella and 2-year-old Celeste. Once again, trigger warning. Sorry. On August 13th, 2018. Shanann was driven home by a friend at approximately 1:45 a.m. after attending a business trip in Arizona. Later that day, the same friend reported Shanann and her daughters missing after Shanann missed an OB/GYN appointment and failed to respond to text messages. The police conducted a welfare check later that day, but no sign of Shanann and the girls were found. excuse me, Chris Watts was arrested on August 15th after failing a polygraph test and confessing to the homicide of Shanann. The bodies of his wife, as well as his 2 daughters, were found at the Anadarko petroleum site on August 16th. Chris Watts was charged with 4 counts of first-degree homicide on August 21st. He did plead guilty to the homicides on November 6th. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, and he is currently serving at the Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. So yes, definitely a horrible, hideous, monster psychopath, in my opinion. Not a good fella. Absolutely not. Family annihilator. Oh my goodness. When was this, Heather? Heather says they found a lady, the victim of a homicide in an abandoned house here in my town. Was this recently? Oh my goodness. Who you talking about? Tomboy says I have a picture of the ladder. Sorry, I'm confused. I have a picture of the ladder company that her brother-in-law worked for in Manhattan. Oh goodness. Heather says my town is like the direct transit for the cartels, etc., going to Chicago. Oh my goodness. I think I would move. I think I would move. And it's a fairly small town. Yeah, unfortunately, these gangs, cartels, trafficking is invading these small towns, rural, small communities, small towns. It's not just the big cities anymore like it, used to be for the most part. Okay, once again, you'll have to feel, I'm confused. Heather says Nicole was so guilty too. That's starting to come out. No, you're not rambling. I'm just missing something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know which case you're talking about. About the lady in the house about 2 years ago. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So I'm trying to think of some other cases happened. So the 2010s would be technically like 2010 to 2019, because I didn't do the 2020s because obviously we're still in the 2020s. Oh, me too. I keep my doors locked. Heather says I get scared when I'm just sitting in a car these days here. Oh yeah, because I do Spark delivery, shop and delivers, or curbside pickups for Walmart. And I'll just, drive over because it's the next town over from where I live. So I'll just drive over there and sit in the parking lot and wait for orders to come in or to come up on the app. And it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm in the car, my doors are locked and I never roll my windows down all the way. I mean, well, maybe I don't know. Sometimes the driver's side where I'm sitting, but Tomboy says, where'd it go? There it is. Speaking of Colorado cases, anyone heard of an update on the Suzanne Morphew case? I have not. I don't know a whole lot I've heard of that case, but I have not done a whole lot of reading up on that case. Let me see if her first name was Suzanne, right? If I'm thinking about the right one. Okay, Suzanne Morphew. So the 2024 articles that come up about her case, there's one from May of this year, last year, 2024. Authorities hint they know location of Suzanne Morphy's body. Wait, but I think they found her body because there was an article. Let me find it. From April of 2024. Let me make sure this is the right case. The autopsy. Hold on. Give it a minute to come up here. If it'll come up. So they found her body because the title is warning disturbing details. Autopsy reveals COD of missing Colorado mom Suzanne Morphy was a homicide. But of course the article won't come up. Oh, there it is. Okay. So and this is from, like I said, April of 2024. As the search for answers continues into how a Colorado mother died, the autopsy for Suzanne Morphy is now released. Morphy was living in the Salida area and was reported missing on May 10th, 2020, which is Mother's Day. Her body was found during an unrelated search in September of 2023. At one point, her husband Barry was a suspect in the case, but charges have since been dropped. See, I thought that he had been charged, but they said he was a suspect in the case, but charges have since been dropped. KKTV 11 News has been requesting her autopsy report for months. On April 24th, 11 News confirmed with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation that her autopsy was complete. And 5 days later, the autopsy was shared with 11 News. It says, warning, details of the autopsy can be hard to read. So I'm not going to read it. Let me see. So according to the autopsy report, she passed away homicide by unspecified means in the setting of a whole bunch of substances. So apparently she was given a mixture. Y'all probably know all this. I don't know. Giving a combination of a whole bunch of illegal substances through injection. Her remains were found in a bag containing bones and clothing. A ski mask and a weathered bullet are noted as evidence in the report, but there's no mention of DNA found on any items or DNA testing to said items. I'll put a link to this article here in case anybody wants to read it. Let me get back over here. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. All right, there's a link to the article that I was reading from. But yeah, I thought that I'd read, that was the last thing that I'd read, was that her husband, Barry, had been charged, but apparently they dropped the charges for some reason. I don't know why the charges were dropped. Like I said, I've heard of the case, but I haven't kept up with it. Yes, Aaron Hernandez case, absolutely. And I actually liked him as a football player because even though he played for the Patriots. Yes, Paula, for your Patriots. But yeah, he just, I don't know. I don't know if he was just a psychopath or if being a football player, they're subjected to, of course, concussions, and some of them develop CTE, the traumatic brain injury, TBI, that leads to CTE, which causes them to kind of go crazy and do just things that they wouldn't normally do, such as homicide. So I don't know if that was the case in the Aaron Hernandez case or if he was just a psychopath, but or a combination of both. I don't know, but yeah, Aaron Hernandez case is definitely interesting also. Oh my goodness. Heather, move away. Come live in my town. Heather says, but on the plus side, They caught that offender of the lady in the ditch a few miles down the road from me that was in the ditch. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and she said, gee, that is the plus side. Oh my goodness. That's why I'm glad I live out on the farm out here, just me and the family. Yes, so you're talking about Aaron Hernandez case? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you're talking about Suzanne Morphew. Tomboy says drop because of something to do with the local DA. Well, that sounds about right. Who was a hottie? Oh my goodness. Oh, you live on the farm too? Stay on the farm. Yep, I live out on the farm. Heather's a farm girl too. We're both farm girls. Oh goodness, lordy. We've had now where I live because we don't live like out in the boonies. You know, it's only like 5 minutes to town, which I live in a very small town, less than 2,000 people. I mean, now we have had homicides and things that have happened here in the town that I live in. But I mean, just every once in a blue moon. Now we did have one very big case that happened in the county that I live in, not necessarily the town. Um, I'm trying to think if I should say the name. Let me think about it for a minute. I mean, it's not giving away the town I live in, but I mean, the most that we have nowadays is drunk people getting drunk and running from the popo and coming out in the back on the back roads to run from the popo. But now I am because we only live like I said 5 minutes from Interstate 40. You know, the town I live in is right on Interstate 40. So I do keep my doors locked when I'm at home just because we're that close to the interstate and it'd be very easy for somebody who is running from the law or has nefarious intentions to get off the freeway and come out this way and do whatever they're going to do. So yeah, doors stay locked all the time. Probably the biggest thing that we've had happen in this general area is the Heath Stalks case. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of that case. You can look up that case. And that is one of the cases that I probably do because I've been doing a series of videos for my members only videos of cases that happen close to me, or in some cases I knew people that were involved in some of these cases, and the Heath Stocks case is one of those cases where I knew some of the people or knew some of the people involved in that case as friends and people I went to school with, people, things of that nature. So that's probably the biggest thing, like around here, this general area that I live in Central Arkansas. I mean, other things have happened, but as far as, things that are close to me, that would probably be the one. Oh my goodness. I would be moving to a different farm, Heather. Uh, oh goodness. Tomboy says, I grew up near Moscow, Idaho, graduated U of I in 1990. Yeah, so what are the big cases? Because I forgot the years that some of these happened of what I guess they would call the 2020s. So basically 2020 to 2025. So you got Idaho 4, I can't even remember what year that was. And some of the other big cases that have happened from like 2020 to 2025, or the end of 2024. So you got Idaho 4, that was in 2022. You've got, what else you've got this happened? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, how could I forget Delphi? Yeah, I was trying to think what year that actually happened. Yeah. Um. Yeah, we got Delphi. Hold on, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. Oh, that was in 2017. So yeah, in that general time frame. Yeah, so you got Delphi, you got Idaho, you got Rex Heuermann's. Just, I mean, those homicides happened back in what started in the 80s, 90s up to the 2000s, but he just a couple of years ago they identified him. So you got that. I'm just trying to think of what was going to be on the list if they update the article to include the 2020s. Yep. Yep. Talking about Aaron Hernandez. Miss Paula says, I liked Aaron, never thought he would commit a homicide, and the fact that he was the only one who was considered a suspect bothered me. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Thank you, Heather. Yes. 2017. Oh, yeah, that was the last one we had was the 2010s. So yeah, well, we'll see. Oh, you talking about Delphi? Or no, that was Indiana. Are you talking about Kohlberger? Yeah, there's people that think in Delphi that think Richard Allen is innocent. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, absolutely, and everybody's, around here, everybody's free to give their opinion. But yeah, people think Richard Allen's not guilty. People think that apparently, their Kohlberger has a following now, a fan club. Um, I don't know what the latest is in the Kohlberger in the Idaho 4 case. I know I don't know when the trial is supposed to start or things that have happened. I haven't had time to keep up with a whole lot of stuff lately since the holidays. So there are people. So who thinks that he's innocent? Is it just people in general, or like actual people who have a say in the case? Like, well, obviously his defense is going to say he's innocent, but yeah, you got that crazy Looney Tunes Luigi. Um, Trying to think of some other things that I'm anything else been happening lately that I have not been able to keep up with. Oh, Heather says just seems a lot of channels, etc., saying, "Are you talking about YouTube channels saying it, but not sure why they think he's innocent?" You talking about YouTube channels or like mainstream media or both? Let's see. Okay. I was going to look up something. I can't type. Maybe I should have put in a qualifier for that. Okay. Here's let me see if there's anything interesting in this, and if not, we're gonna get out of here because we've been on here 3 hours. It is 2 o'clock in the morning here. Let's see. I'm trying to look of. Okay, so I'm trying to look of. I just searched for famous cases that were solved in 2020s. So I'm talking about the Golden State offender, excuse me. Jody Loomis. I've never heard of that case. Where's that at? Jody Loomis, 20, was SA'd and GSW'd in the head, according to authorities. It doesn't tell where that one's at. Oh no, here it is. Oh, that's from 1972. Suspect Terrence Miller is in Washington. Loomis was riding her bicycle on her way to the stable to see her horse when she was viciously attacked, according to investigators. A couple out target shooting found her partially clothed body in a wooded area off what is now Mill Creek Road. A semen was found on her body and on her boot heel for nearly 50 years. This Terrence Miller, who is 78 now, evaded investigators in the alleged homicide of Loomis. DNA evidence taken from Walker's body and clothing was preserved. Thank God they preserved it. It was preserved for decades and recently submitted for genetic genealogy identification, and a connection was found to an Edmonds family member with 7 siblings, including Miller. So Miller's DNA collected from a discarded coffee cup from a casino matched that of the semen collected from Loomis's boot. In 2019, he was arrested and charged with first-degree homicide. He pleaded not guilty. He was released on $1 million bail. He had reportedly been accused of SA crimes at least 5 times since the 1960s. But it says hours before a jury convicted him of homicide, he took himself out. Wow. I'll have to look into these cases. There's some interesting things here. Carla Jean Walker, that was from Fort Worth, Texas. I haven't heard of that one. Cynthia Miller, I think I've heard of that one. That was from West Virginia. Might have to save this article and research some of these. Jennifer Watkins, that one was from Colorado, 1999. Let me bookmark that. I'll also share the link in case any of you guys want to look at it. Just cases it's from Inside Edition. Mainly using genetic genealogy to find offenders. Let me come back over. Oh, I push the right tab. All right, there's the article I was looking at in case any of you guys want to look at it. Interesting stuff. Oh, yeah, YouTube. That sounds about right. Yeah, it's 310 where you are. Yep. Heather says, I'm pretty close to 99% certain the West Memphis 3 are guilty with things I came across that only they could know, plus 3 victims, 3 perks. True. And I think I'm still on the fence with West Memphis 3. I go back and forth, honestly, on West Memphis 3. I'll read one thing and be, maybe they didn't do it. And then I'll read something else and say, well, maybe they did do it. But yeah, there was either at least 2 different knots used to tie the boys up, maybe 3, but I think it was at least 2 different ones. Yep, I think we're fixing to get out of here. Thank you, Tomboy, for being here. She says, and on that note, I'm off to bed, being beckoned. Thank you for being here, Tomboy. Tell Miss Tandy I hope she's doing okay. Yeah, we'll try. I'm too tired to misbehave right now. Yep, Miss Paula says, love you guys, but it's time for me to go to bed. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Paula, for being here. Oh, goodness. Heather says, if y'all want to say a prayer for me, if love you for it, found some lumps. Oh, yes. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes. Go see your doctor. Most definitely. Night, tomboy. Yeah, we're fixing out here. Yeah, Heather, definitely thoughts, prayers, good vibes. Absolutely. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow night, or actually be tonight, technically. Saturday night, Sunday morning on the, if Dave, I'm sure Dave will do his live stream. He posted something about a case or a missing person that he was going to be talking about in his next live stream. So yeah, I think we're gonna get out of here, guys. It's been we did good. 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours. Thank you so much, everybody that was here. Heather, Tomboy, Miss Paula. I don't want to forget anybody, but I can't go back through the whole chat. You guys know who you are. Sunday Doodles, Aquarian One was here. JP was here. Patriotism was here. I'm just trying to do them off memory. If I miss anybody, I'm so sorry. Thank you, everybody that was here. Thank you to the lurkers. Absolutely, we'll love our lurkers. Thank you to replay crew. We love our replay crew. Okay, Heather says Monday is the doctor call. Lots of appointments to come. Love you guys. God bless. Absolutely, Heather. Please let us know if you wish what you find out. Nothing but love to you, honey. Good night, 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 night. Good night, everybody. I love you guys. Monday will be our normal Missing Person Monday live stream. Usual time about 8:15, 8:30, Monday night Central Time. So until then, everybody have a good rest of your weekend. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And take care of each other. And I will see you in a couple of days.